And howdy, folks. Welcome to Adventures in Alberon. This is our 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons game set in the homebrewed world of Alberon. I'm Joe Treff, your Dungeon Master, and joining me as always, we have Matt, Miles, Allie, and Tina. Before we get started, we have a couple of announcements. Something I always... Oh, hello, Talon. Talon said the music is so freaking good. Thank you. Yeah, so again, we have our own custom theme song now. That plays in the beginning if you missed it. We'll also play during the break. What's that? Oh, thank you. So before we get started, a couple of announcements I always forget to say. We have a YouTube and Instagram, a Twitter, and a website. We're Alberon RPG on all social media things. And then our website...
social media things.
Our website is www.alberonrpg.com. A little bit more about our campaign and our kind of goals and stuff like that there. I want to say thank you to the people who are subscribing now. We're working on some subscriber-only lore and some cool things to kind of reward people for subscribing. That's definitely coming. I know we have channel points, which are enabled now. You'll notice below the chat, there is something that is gold coins. You'll accumulate those as you watch. There's a few rewards that you can redeem those for. You can like highlight a message. If we're in sub-only mode, you could use some of those coins to kind of get something in. You will notice we do have one custom reward. More of them will come as we figure them out. But for 2,000 Alberon gold coins or gold dragons, you can name an NPC in the world of Alberon. So that is the only custom one right now. We're going to have more as they come. Well, no, Talon is at 2K bits. Or you actually might be at coins already, actually, Talon, because you do tune in quite a bit. But that being said, we'll have some more updates on that as they come. Merry belated Christmas to some folks out in the community who we see quite a lot. So Talon, Fat Boy, Dicey Encounters, Jonathan, and all the folks out there who don't talk but who tune in every week. We hope that you guys had a good holiday. Mm-hmm. And then finally, as per usual, we have Sirenscape, which is providing all of our music. You can hear the wonderful jungle music in the background, which is our kind of go-to opening music because everybody seems to really like it. Alex seems to like it a lot.
That's your fave.
Other than that, that is all the announcements that I have for this week.
Sick.
So we can jump right into our recap. Let me get some different music going for this because this is a different situation.
Now it gets.
There's all the spells.
Alrighty. So.
Dramatic.
We done fucked up.
No, we did not. We just walked. You walked. If that's fucking up, we've been fucking up the whole time.
True. Well, you know.
No, we were sailing for a good while.
That's
we
true.
were sailing.
We were fucking that up too.
When we last played, Gunter, you went to the Fist Hall, intent to, I guess, possibly win in the ring for once, fair and square, relatively speaking. However, you met Gilda Breakstone, the member of the Merchant Council who rose up to take Twilightfoot's place after your group retired him. Heinrich, Morwen, and Shay went to Lord Hightaker after intervening and cleansing the Temple of Helm. You guys received a little bit of a reward. Between all of you, you learned of a number of things. Goblins have been raiding to the north. There's the Drake.
Yep.
Dragons, once more, after your lack of success at the Pillar of Scales, have emerged into the world. To the south, bandits have risen up in new numbers, daring enough to actually take a magical weapon from a caravan traveling south to 1,000 Gates, the military city that was built to keep the creatures within the gated marsh at bay. You guys also learned, you learned that Ariadne, originally a member prior to the Finger Gang being the Finger Gang, now works at the spice market with Janice. You guys decided that you would barter for some spices in order for Gunter to be able to cast Hallow on your ship. You traded a number of items along with what is essentially wild magic infused Molly, not telling Ariadne really what it does, actually claiming that it's magic in a bottle and the reason for Gunter's longevity.
That one wasn't even me.
Yeah. Man. Oh, Talon, thank you very much for the bits. So, you guys were...
We were pretty nice.
You guys... it's going to have some interesting consequences. You guys gave a
Gave her a lot of good stuff.
Sure. You all... or then Heinrich and Shay, you guys met the Harbinger Athelius, the somewhat grim individual sent by the Church of Six originally to cleanse Helm's Temple. He offered you a couple of different things. You guys turned those services down. However, did use him to learn a little bit more about the area and some of the wider spread happenings of Dominion. Finally, you guys traveled by boat to Gulliver's Bay, heading north, eventually intending to reach the monastery. Gunter, Morwen, and Heinrich very quickly went to the shops. Heinrich, you separating from them almost immediately to catch up with Shay.
Yeah.
But Gunter and Morwen, you guys went to Algis and Algia's. The blacksmith, Algis and Algisa, perusing their wares and not really buying anything. But at the end of our session, Shay,
Yep.
you noticed soft footfalls in the snow. And turning, you see standing in front of you an elf, tan skin, intricate patterns of scarring across the arms, neck, and chest. Her bushy, sand-colored hair down in a long braid, much longer than you remember it. She seems to shift her weight frequently, ever unable to stand still for long. She wears clothing that exposes her elven skin to the cold air. But even as a gust of wind blows snow across her abdomen, you don't notice any kind of shiver. And just for visual reference.
Already? We're not even there. It's not even our scene.
Just warm up.
Warm.
You see in front of you the mountain elf Hylan that you know is responsible for, and have actually previously just discussed, the massacre of nearly 300 monks. What would you like to do?
Well, this is interesting. Who would have thought the shaded path would have brought us to this point?
You can see as the snow blows through, and it's starting to actually really come down now, such that the visibility outside of about 50 feet beyond gets pretty gray. It is only about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but even for the time of day, it's pretty dark. So you're seeing not a ton of detail from her face. She doesn't say anything.
I assume you are the one who sent the message?
A second passes, and there's just a step forward in the snow.
Okay.
And then another. And another. She's probably within 10 feet of you now, and you can tell something's different.
Mm-hmm.
Make a perception check.
Passive 18.
Okay. Passive 18.
So bad for you.
Yeah, I know.
Good glance. And
Must
it's
be
like, oh, I know
nice.
everything about this.
There is a difference to her eyes. You remember from seeing her before, this almost feral edge to the orangey red irises. They are a different color. There's more of a gold to them.
Okay.
As she gets close and gets within 10 feet of you, Shay,
Hylan.
how can I expect you to listen? And she's still stepping forward closer. Another foot.
What words have you spoken for me to hear? I would hear what you have to say.
She's within 5 feet of you now and begins walking slightly to the side. Shay, I can't imagine what emotions you must feel, knowing what I have done and seeing me here. And she's still walking, now almost kind of circling you.
There were many good people who died that day.
And as she passes, you're forced to turn your head to the side. Still walking. I would expect as much. I had hopes for you, you know.
I'm just confused.
She
You
continues.
said nothing to me. Era has said nothing to me.
When you say error, you can see there is this brief, especially with the passive of 18, you can see there's this brief moment of maybe anger or sadness. It's hard to tell. Highland's never been somebody who, other than just the ferocity and almost feral nature that she can carry, she doesn't express a ton of emotion openly.
Yep.
But there is just this hint. And she almost hesitates in her step, but continues to pace around you. If Era can't see, then you won't be able to either. But there is a corruption, Shay.
I feel it.
And as she gets, that's you. As she gets again to between you and the town, she stops. There is going to come a time when you need to choose. But you are not ready yet.
What am I choosing between?
Life and death. When you are ready, find us in the giant step. And she takes a step backwards, and as she does so, you can see the snow falling even harder now. She's already beginning to fade. What do you do?
Let her go.
Hmm?
I'm gonna let her go.
Okay. Another step and another, and she becomes a silhouette in the snowfall and then seems to almost vanish.
Gonna wait a few minutes.
Heinrich, at about this point, because I did a little bit of math, it takes you 1 minute and 46 seconds to get from where you were to where Shay is, which roughly, like, in battle would have been 72 rounds. So real good that it didn't go there.
Sure.
But you walking up and around the Pearl Spun path, passing on the left this sort of dye shop, you can actually smell almost like, and actually very interestingly for you, you're not so used to bad smells really. It's been a long time. And so as you pass this dye, you can smell this like stringent chemical that's being used to impart
I probably
color
sneezed.
into cloth. Yeah. Oh, sure.
Used to bad smells because you've been living with him for a long time.
Oh, there you go. Even
Burn.
Him? Yeah.
that's been the secret room.
Yeah, you were like, yeah.
At this point, you come up and around, and that on your left, you can see now, just through the snow, the orangey sort of clothing that Shay typically wears. You don't see any other figure. What do you want to do?
It's like, oh, Shay, there you are. What are you doing over there?
For Shay, looks visibly shaken. Like,
Well, and I would concernedly rush up, like, hey, are you okay?
yes.
What is it? Did you see something, or I mean, I don't see anything around.
You remember that story I told you
Yeah.
about the person who murdered?
Right. All of your friends and
Not
I guess
all of them, but
right.
a lot of them. She's here, but
Like where here?
she's gone now. Or lurking in the shadows, maybe.
I mean, are we? What do we do about that? Do we like seek her out? Do we
Nothing.
hide her?
Nothing for now.
Okay, just know that is. They're around.
We're being watched.
Okay. Be
At
wary.
some point, I will have to deal with them, but not now.
Okay. Okay, I understand. You know you have at least my backing at this moment, but I'm pretty sure our other friends are also on your side.
The maddening part of this is I don't know what side I'm on.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I know that feeling all too well.
Just be aware, through the north, we are being watched.
Well, if my insomnia keeps up, well, at least I can help out with letting you guys get sleep. So there's that. It's kind of nice.
Beware the raven.
Noted. Would I remember that was the bird that was... I never saw the bird. Did you ever
You never
tell
saw
anyone that the bird was there?
I don't think I did.
Okay.
I've seen
so
a
never
bird
mind.
once upon a time. Was it a raven?
There was.
Okay. I shouted at it.
I shot it.
You did. You shouted, "Hey, bird!"
And I shot it with an eldritch blast.
You did.
I poofed it.
You did. You blew up the bird.
Yeah.
It was a regular bird.
I recall that moment.
Yeah,
But it was a
Semi-fondly.
raven, right?
it was.
I
So it
recall that
wasn't
moment
just a
semi-fondly
regular
in any
bird.
ways and whatever and moving
It was
on.
a
Ravens
Yeah,
are a
okay.
good bird.
All
It
right.
was an
Hunter's
attempted
eating
murder.
raven.
Wow, that's early. We're starting with this. Okay.
Anywho's it. So,
Anywho,
yeah. Well,
So-
that is good information to have. What time is it now?
At this moment, probably right around 2:30.
Okay. Should we leave town now or should we stay a night? I mean, we're going to be in the wilds at night at some point. I don't know if...
we should move quickly, but cautiously.
Okay. And you know the way.
I know many ways.
Okay. One that we could all travel?
There's a moment where you
I laugh. I kind of like visibly laugh and do like a little like hop on one foot and I'm clearly not agile.
in your mind, you actually have this moment where you imagine Heinrich trying to climb the skywalk. And it's just this comical idea of like trying to get up those steps. No, it would be very difficult. Then you think of Gunter trying to do
And
that.
I'm just kind of like, yeah,
Under
like this guy,
surprisingly
and then this
beautiful.
armor, and I shake it. I'm like, not really the same. So,
a little bits of
No.
snow kind of coming off the scales individually as they clink
Good,
together.
easy peasy.
Yeah. Well, okay, great. Should we collect our friends and get a move on?
Hopefully they're making their way here, yes?
I mean, we did tell them, and it has been, I don't know, a few minutes to meet us here in an hour.
It has been a few minutes, however, really quick, taking this opportunity. Gunter and Morwen, the two of you are exiting this or have just exited this blacksmith shop. You can't see Heinrich through the snow, which is now falling a little bit stronger. You leave the heat of this store and step out into the cold. What is your passive perception?
15.
Okay. What do you guys like to do?
What else is around here?
Make a perception check.
Passive 14.
Passive 15.
Okay.
The dynamic duo.
You can see to the left of this, or if you were to, leaving the door, turn left in the way that Heinrich had walked, you would see that there is what looks like an inn, although it is not open yet, again, very early, about 2:30 at this point. However, outside of it, seemingly painted onto the wall in red paint, is a sign that just says the bent coin. Or sorry, the bent copper. It's this sort of one-story brick and mortar store, very simple looking, but even peering in through the darkened windows, you can see very, very nice, almost oaken bar, some like brass fixtures on the bar itself, and a couple different bottles back there, more than just your standard kind of, dive bar. But it is currently closed. You would also see, looking to the right,
Damn.
you'd also see looking to the right, there is a structure that Heinrich had actually just passed, the House of Our Lady Priest. It's this stone tower. It's a single-floored building. However, there's like a huge sort of almost 5-story stone peak that goes up with beautiful stained glass windows.
Said stone?
Yes. Would you like to make a stone comment check? Go right ahead.
That's a... Ooh. That's a
That's all rough.
solid...
They're made of dogs.
I mean, still
Dogs?
12.
That's rough.
Okay. 12. Not terrible. Looking at the stone, it is very, very pale.
Pale stone.
Looking at it, there is actually a stone called pale stone. This is not it. But you can't discern the nature of it. You can tell based on stuff that you know about rocks, being a dwarf who has spent a tremendous amount of time around them. There is like evidence with these very, very minute lines, probably glacial activity around wherever these come from. But with a 12 outside of that, not a lot of, comes from somewhere cold.
You filling up your rock decks?
Oh, yeah.
Orly's Gunter's rock decks.
Yeah. That's his one
Wait.
thing he'll leave behind.
Yeah.
I'm curious about
No
something.
other mark on
Okay.
the
This
world.
is going to be
Weird
kind of
rock.
random. Do I have a... We're just going to have to work with the snail.
There you go.
I'm gonna conspicuously.
Oh,
turn
the
left.
smell.
Is that blood?
No, I'll save this.
What?
I'll save this experiment for later.
Okay.
Copper sign.
Do we see... Wait, do we see Heinrich? Or just the direction he went?
You can still see
Oh
footprints
wait,
in the
I would
snow.
be probably instead of her.
You'd be
I would
all
be-
the way, kind of. Oh yeah, you walked
I
up
would
to her. Yeah.
approach.
So yeah, you can put yourself
Oh,
right there.
I approach.
How much time till we have to meet up with them?
About 55 minutes. Not that you can tell, especially it's very, very dark for the time. With the snow falling, very hard to determine exactly what time it is.
But it's been like 5 minutes.
Yeah, Heinrich just walked out the door, and you talked to this girl for a little bit. And
And
then,
you bought a bunch of daggers and.
I mean, there's
said,
nothing really
"Make me a
open. Do you
shield
want to
and
just,
left."
like, follow them?
I mean, I forgot what we were doing, so.
I don't really... I thought we were just following Shane. I don't know where she is.
Thought we were gonna.
What are you looking at? What are you looking for?
I don't know.
make a perception check.
To find out what he's
For-
looking
I don't
for.
know.
That's a 15.
Pass the 15.
He
Okay.
still has no idea.
It was an appropriate too. I will
You
tell everyone.
look around. There's a little cart that is going by, and you can see on it, on the left side of it, there is the red shield. symbol.
Oyster dude followed us.
Oh, it's
No.
the red shirts.
But it comes and passes and seems to be heading a little bit
Plot
towards
twist, I
the
brought him.
northwest of town.
In my bag of holding.
I was supposed to do
Yes.
something for them,
He's dead.
but then, they'll probably be fine.
Oh!
Are you actually
I remember.
trying to
Can
remember,
I
or
roll
is
to
it-
remember?
I'm having trouble
or
knowing if
whatever.
you're having
Can I
trouble.
recall what we were
It's
supposed to
like-
do for the red shield? Oh no, that was actually at
yeah.
Port Quinn. Though.
Yeah,
that's
and
not
I
here.
and like we came and
Yeah.
collected you, and you
And
thought we
then
were
we
coming
just-
to
yeah, when
attack
he
you.
took when we left
Yeah.
for 3 hours for him to take a nap. Yeah,
Yes, you guys
in
took
a tree.
very long walk.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Okay, fine. Then I'm doing my experiment now.
Do it.
I'm gonna say ta-da and ask you to stone con my thing to see how good it is. But I'm gonna.
What?
Stone
Can I
Con
do
what?
that?
To stone con what?
My armor.
Your
Can I,
leather
like-
armor?
Oh, it's armor no matter what.
So wait, what are you trying to do?
I want to see how like legitimate this shit is. Is
Okay.
it just leather armor that changes
I
the
see what
image?
you're saying. I'll say without a roll.
Like,
As
could
you
I be
change
like
it-
a sack of bricks? And I'm like, whoa, you know?
Okay, so you want it to look like bricks?
There's no physical changes. It's just like
It's just
illusion.
looks.
It's illusory.
Yes.
Okay. As you say ta-da, the rivets suddenly become squared around the rounded edges and expand into these brick-like pattern across the entire thing. You do not drop. You also remember very distinctly, now wearing this brick armor, that you had an entirety of beetles covering you. And you don't remember feeling crawling legs
Beetles
or...
aren't heavy. But
Right,
yeah.
You
but
don't feel
you
it.
didn't feel a difference. You didn't feel like Sade's weight suddenly appear on your chest as you made her face appear on the armor.
Right. You didn't feel the gross bloody behind the skin on yourself.
Okay,
But
fine.
it
fine,
seems
fine,
as if it is a
That's
very convincing appearance. It does not change the physical properties.
I'm gonna
She's
ta-da
alright.
back to my normal stuff.
Okay, ta-da. Right back to normal.
Oh, never mind.
What?
What?
Were you trying to?
What'd you just call me?
What are we doing?
Let's find our friends.
Yeah,
Everything's closed. I was into grabbing a drink, but it's closed.
There-
gonna
you
say we
guys
could
did
stop
pass,
off for a pint, but,
You guys passed the Sly Flourish, which is like a larger alehouse. It's the one that
Fuck that. Let's go back.
it's
grab
the
a
one
drink?
that Heinrich had
Let's go
smelled.
grab a drink.
Sure.
We're just doing it, Joe. We're just gonna do it.
You guys about face, and head south, back towards the docks.
We got 55 minutes, give or take.
Yeah, that's a good 17
It's
beers.
like,
Yeah, you could do this.
You walk about 5 minutes back in the
Treat
direction you
ourselves
came
every once
from.
in a while. We work hard.
We sure do.
Yeah.
And eventually you come to a large wooden alehouse. You can see outside of it, there is, again, this metal sign that's been stamped in with the Sly Flourish and very, very elegant cursive script. There is no door. There is a door that's been propped open on the inside, but it's not closed. You can see a long bar that at some point had been broken somewhere near the middle and then been kind of haphazardously patched up. Behind it, there is a large woman. Kind of square-jawed, very broad shoulders. She looks to be about 40 or so.
I'm gonna nudge
She has
Gunter
just-
and be like, eh?
The faintest wisp of a
What?
mustache kind of gracing her. Little gray. She has short...
Is it Ro?
No. She has very short
Hey.
but poofy hair, cut a little too close to the back. Like it's like almost like a reverse mullet, like a little longer in the front, a little shorter in the back. She's fairly plump, but beneath the fat, you can see as she sort of like polishes that, there's muscle underneath. What would you like to do? There's about 2 or 3 people in there.
We're going in, and I'm gonna be like, hey, this is my friend Gunter.
She turns and looks at you, regarding you both with like a big smile. Hello,
Hi.
Gunter, huh?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
my
no.
name.
She saunters down the bar and kind of pops up right next to you. And as she puts her elbow on and kind of leans, it is like a thump, and you can see the fat in her arm kind of spreads out a little bit. But you can see she is like a bicep underneath that. Like
I just
she's
spat all
large.
over my page.
She is large, but she is very in charge.
Yeah.
Large.
Large margin charge.
She turns
Featuring
back to
Susan.
you and says, "Head of Tabaxi! Wonderful to see one of those in
Thank
Dominion."
you. I do a small spin, and I sit on a stool.
How charming! What could I get for you?
What's your strongest beer?
Well, we feature a lot of sours from the Sunrest Islands.
What are you? Sours? Yeah, give us one of those strong sour. Yeah.
Okay. And she turns around, and you can see now there aren't, like the other bar, like a whole row of like all these different glass bottles and these beautiful brass fixtures. Very simple, wooden tiered, and you can see there's like these little pony kegs that have been lined up. There's a couple different kinds of beer, but she goes to sort of like the central left, and you can see, actually, very interestingly, in Dwarvish, a weird sort of variation, almost, this would be the Venezuelan Spanish if you spoke Puerto Rican Spanish.
Okay.
But you can tell that it's Dwarven. It's almost like an antiquated Dwarven. But it says what is essentially Dwarven for Goza. And as she pours it, it is this very, very light, however, almost like a purple cast to it.
Is this the one that she
Ooh,
gave
pretty.
us?
Yes.
Oh.
And she's pouring it into they're probably clean, these mugs, however, they're frosted just with use. But she puts them down in front of you. One of our finest, and Dwarven too.
Ah. All right.
That'll be a silver apiece.
All right. I'm gonna take out. I guess I'll take out 4 silver and be like, I'm paying up front.
Oh.
Oh. Okay.
Keep
I'll
them
just-
coming.
Is that just for you?
No, you're
Okay.
good, kitty.
Aw, thanks.
That's
I'm
actually
sorry.
kind of
Like a
racist.
little- Oh no, that's a thing we've got. We've been through a lot.
He's old,
She
different
doesn't
generation.
have any
You know what I
friends.
mean?
She's
Yeah,
I'm
it's from a
only
different
friend.
time.
Oh,
She's all
I
alone
know
in the
about not
world.
having any friends.
No
Oh,
friends.
You got
know.
friends right here.
Hey, yeah, you've got her.
Make it this.
Well, are you being truthful or are you
Yeah,
lying?
I mean,
Let's do persuasion. I
sure.
wanna
Make a
be
persuasion
friendly.
check. Fine, fair enough.
I'm gonna pat
Lauren's
you
a
on the
friendly
back.
person.
Mormon likes
Guidance.
friends.
Lauren likes friends. That is one of your bonds.
Roll that 4. Roll that D4.
Oh shit. Okay.
got guidance.
Stop yelling at me.
Oh.
All right. For persuasion. Okay, so let me do this. That's a 24.
Hey,
We're gonna start
She
braiding each
convinces
other's
herself.
mustaches.
did you say that?
No.
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah. Well, now you did. And it's just because of us.
So
We
what's my
helped you.
friend's name?
I haven't learned his. Oh, you
going
mean
to-
my name? They call me Big Sue on account of the fact that I'm named Sue and I'm kind of big. And she, like sort of almost unconsciously seems to kind of like flex. And you can actually see like her pecs kind of like rise up a little bit. So what brings you to Gulliver's Bay?
That's a question for you. I don't really know.
We're just never been here before, so I figured I'd check it out.
Yeah. Me
I don't
too.
think anybody's ever come here to check it out. It's usually just merchants and the people who are stuck here.
Yeah, we're kind of merchants in a way.
We're not.
Yeah,
no.
sometimes we merchants.
That seems extremely suspicious. But we're friends.
Yeah, but we lie to you.
I hope not.
It's been all of
Anyways.
1 minute.
Give me just a minute. And she notices one of the other two gentlemen at the bar and walks down to the other end, giving you a brief moment. If there's anything you want to do.
Yes, I want to.
I'm drinking this beer.
I want to suss out the other suspects.
Sure,
in the
make
bar.
an investigation check.
I think the word is stranger.
For you, as
Not
you
when
drink
you're
this beer,
sussing. Not when you're
there is a
sussing.
deep, rich, almost plum flavor to this. And it's dry. As you drink it, it kind of makes your mouth pucker ever so slightly, but as
Ew.
it rolls across the back of your palate, it does leave this lingering sweetness. It's very nice.
It's pretty nice.
What'd you roll?
18.
18. Looking down, you can see the first person, younger, maybe 24, 25. He's dressed in nicer clothes, kind of like silks. Beyond that, you can see somebody much more working class. Leather armor, but not the kind that a warrior or you being a pirate, like a thief would wear. More like the kind of armor that you see travelers wear when they're going from place to place when it may not be super safe. It's not going to stop like a sword, but it will stop like a wolf bite probably. Not a terribly suspicious looking group. They're not really paying attention to you, which actually is a tabaxi pretty unusual.
Oh, they're looking at me because I'm a tabaxi.
They're not,
It's just because it's
actually.
pretty.
But,
No, in general.
Yeah. So, you don't notice anything especially untoward about them.
Yeah, it's, not
What's
a
that?
suspicious looking group. Just saying. It's the first.
Ah,
Well,
So,
maybe not first, but. So you
wanna-
like her?
What?
You like her?
She's high. The beer's pretty good. You wanna scam him?
No, they don't. I don't think they'd have much. These are all they're all passerbyers.
Well, to be honest, I was kind of hoping, Yeah. The thistle kind of took it pretty bad. So I was kind
what are
of
you trying
hoping,
to-
try to,
you
perk
trying to
myself
say?
up a bit and get back into the game a bit.
Scamming
That's
is how
why
you
I was
feel good.
That's why I was introducing you to this fine big Sue.
Well, I want to scam.
She seems like a good hugger.
I don't need hugs. You like hugs. I don't like hugs.
You can see with the passive of 15, you see she's walking back over now.
Oh,
She's hugging.
How are my best friends doing?
oh just wonderful. Can you tell us about business?
Yeah.
Do you got a lot of people at all?
Yeah, you got a lot of people, right? You should probably go tend to them.
Well, it's only 3 o'clock and no judgment, of course, but you're starting kind of early.
Never too early. Time to start.
Well,
Get a
most
head start on this, you get a head start on life.
that's a wise philosophy. But most of the people in this town who work are working at Brickman's, and they don't get out until 5 or 6 o'clock. So it'll be pretty empty until then.
Oh, well, we're travelers, so, we do what we feel like.
So do you live here?
Well, not in a bar, silly, but yeah, I live in Gulliver's Bay.
So what's,
You happy there?
There, here.
Here?
what's the happenings? What's
Tell me
It's
the hot
hard because
goss.
you're both talking to me at the same time.
Well,
But it's an okay place to live if you own some kind of property. If not, you're kind of doomed to a a very salty, smoky life. But such is life in Gulliver's Bay. At least we're free. In terms of what you're talking about, what's happening?
Yeah.
What sort of happenings are you looking for? More cultural?
Like the more wealthy, easy to con type happenings.
Easy to con type?
Yeah, I didn't say that. You did.
I'm sure that we have some relative that we could talk about to that.
A relative?
You
That's Thieves'
instantly
Kid.
pick up that she is speaking Thieves' Cant.
Oh!
Is Big Sue.
What?
You know that what she is essentially saying is
Subtitles.
there is a different time to talk about that. And as she's saying this, you can see with her big smile, her eyes do kind of dart down the bar towards the other two.
Was it
pictures.
like your aunt or something?
Oh, well,
I think she's got an aunt she wants to introduce me to.
how would I ask a good time to come back?
You might say, "Oh, I've been meaning to visit that relative. When will they be by?"
And you do. Also,
What'd
I
you
just want to take a moment
Sorry,
to point out.
I'm just not clever.
I want to take a moment to point out you're the only other person that I've ever met who understands what fucking Thieves' Cant means. Not
Well-
literally in the world, but most people are like, oh yeah, and they speak in Thieves' Cant. It sounds like and
That's
they
rude.
describe
I thought it was a different language.
Well, that's what I'm
You're
gonna say.
quoting me.
But it's no, not you, but a lot of people, other things, yeah. It's
Thieves'
just it's
Cant
important. It's important to
Is
know
a
that
complex enough of a code to be considered a language.
it's right. But you
Um,
can speak it in any tongue technically,
Yes.
which is why it's I like it.
No, I understand.
Just
it's,
appreciating
it's
you're
code, but
using
I
it
just,
right and it sounds good.
I'm not clever enough to think of it myself.
Asking her
How to
that.
ask.
Roll a persuasion check.
I think she wants us to go visit her aunt. What? I don't wanna meet her
A persuasion
aunt. I
check, you
wanna
said?
scan.
16.
I want to get into
Well,
scheming
it
and
really
scheming.
depends, but if you were looking to meet them and inquire about some kind of travel, I don't think she's really looking to travel right now, which you would actually know means that she's saying if you were looking for some kind of kidnapping or something like that, that isn't really the work that we do. She would then say, but if you were trying to ask her about some of her belongings that have gone missing, because you know how forgetful she is, of course, then it would probably be good to come back sometime around 11 o'clock once we've closed.
All right. Cheers.
She doesn't have a drink in her hand. However,
I
she-
cheers.
Pour
I'm
one.
like, ah, yeah.
Here,
We'll go visit
I
your
give her a
aunt.
silver, one for you too.
So we're
thank
going
you.
to...
And she takes the coin.
And he goes, it's still too early.
Well, she doesn't drink, but she takes the coin.
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna not give it to her anyway. But
However,
man.
if you two are looking for our dear aunt, this isn't really the best place to do it. It's a risky situation. Understand that before you come by.
What's what? So your aunt's like, what? She's sick or something?
Well, our aunt has misplaced a real important thing, and
You could just tell me,
sure.
Tell me, dude. I'm interested
we
in
will.
the aunt.
We will.
We talking about the aunt?
Time to listen.
Our aunt has misplaced a really valuable piece of jewelry. As ostentatious as she is, of course, she would have a tiara. And we had an idea that we might know where to find it. Unfortunately, some other people may have found it first and think that it's theirs.
But it's your aunt's.
Right, and it's coming in around midnight tonight. And if you would like to know more, maybe come by a little later.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to just...
And what time?
Sure. Make a Constitution saving throw.
What time did she say?
About 11 o'clock.
Ooh,
PM, obviously.
that's a...
You can intuit it however you would like.
Noon tomorrow.
Well, when it's closed,
You
she
watch
might be
as-
trying to talk to me.
As
In all
you
fairness,
as you sort of tell Gunter to be quiet and that you're going to handle this, you see Gunter just tip back the whole glass and just chug this entirety of the sour down. Gunter, it immediately kind of rushes to your head.
I've been casually sipping. By the way, I'm not chugging.
Sure, you have not eaten since breakfast when you guys discussed your
you got any
rations.
food?
It hits you hard and quick.
Oh. Oh.
Any dexterity related check or ability roll will be at disadvantage.
Cool, because I'm really dexterous to begin with.
But you're feeling pretty good. It's getting kind of warm in here.
But you're feeling good, so that's what counts.
And suddenly you're realizing, Big Sue's mustache, not that bad.
Looks warm.
Anyways, I do hope to see
fuzzy.
you because we could use a little bit more help. But remember, our aunt doesn't have a lot of friends,
Yeah, well,
which you would know means
She has no friends.
this is a danger. There are other people who, this is a dangerous job.
So this is a hard level.
Sure.
Yes. Hard level.
All right, well, maybe we'll come back and visit
Oh,
your aunt. and,
level, no, difficulties.
Good
max,
luck with
4
finding
stars.
her necklace.
Thanks. I think we'll do I think your friend is going to do a great job. I didn't really get your guys' names.
Yeah, you did. It was Gunther. She said it right when we came in.
Gunther,
And I am Mormon.
Morwen. And she shakes her hand, big, meaty hand, very soft.
Oh. No, just,
Just a moment. She heads back off down the bar. Is there anything else you guys wish to do within this?
So, are we gonna try to steal that aunt's necklace?
yeah, we just gotta come back.
Why
at
don't
a-
you just tell us about her aunt's necklace? It says she wanted us to steal it. Shut up. It was like,
They're their ears.
she was like,
You gotta come back
here's
at 11.
My rich aunt.
Gotta come back at 11. It's
necklace.
not really her aunt.
Would we have found them by
Talking about
now?
her aunt like that.
So yeah, as you
Actually,
guys,
yeah.
Aunt,
did-
that's why we've
well,
got other
Shay,
listeners.
did we,
There's other ears.
are you
on
guys
us.
going to find them?
Ears?
we have
What
decided
are you talking
that.
about ears?
I don't know. I don't know that we would have.
Please,
Yeah.
on other people.
Okay, we'll get back.
I feel like
I care.
We'll do our own
Everyone's
thing.
got ears. No one cares.
As you guys are having this discussion,
This is the scam I'm
God.
talking about.
as you guys are having this discussion, Heinrich and Shay, what are you doing? You stand out in the snow.
I'm just kind of like bundling up. Like, it's nice up here.
Yeah.
Is it colder where we're going?
Yeah.
Great. And I kind of no, I don't have produce flame. If I had that. I can do other things though, which is fun, but I'm not gonna do anything. Well, maybe we can find a place to at least wait around here with like a view, so we can be inside, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem. I forget sometimes that you're not
Right.
as used to this temperature.
Right. Yes.
And Heinrich, you would remember having passed the Church of Law and Light,
Okay.
the House of Our Lady Priests, Sly Flourish, and I think that might have been it that you passed. You passed Gulver General as well.
Am I hungry?
Probably, yeah. You guys last ate right around like 9 o'clock in the morning. No, even earlier than that because you guys went to sleep early.
So good.
No, but you made breakfast, I thought.
Yeah, you guys
I
made
did.
breakfast, but you made it early, like 6, 7
Oh, you
o'clock.
woke up whenever. Usually.
And you didn't even wake up. You didn't sleep.
Well, right. That's why I made breakfast.
Better
I
get
guess
a good
I'm the
breakfast
chef.
with all that
I
time
guess
on your
I'm the
hands.
chef now.
Better be good with all that time on your hands.
Do you
Yeah.
want Morwen to cook?
No, well, it wasn't
Hey,
bad the first time
Yo,
she made it.
You guys like my food.
And I still haven't learned
That's
about
fair.
the unfortunate truth.
I think I got you both,
Was
didn't
it
I?
big people?
You have.
It's made of big people. No.
Oh yeah. Also, congratulations to Talon for his latest bit donation. He is now officially the rank of big people.
Oh shit!
The highest bit rank currently achieved.
Who in game is the big people right now? We don't have a big.
We
There's
don't
no
have a
big-
big
There
people.
is no
No
big
big
people. Big
people.
people
There
is
has
when
to be.
Morwen miss.
Oh, I know.
is
I know the misunderstanding
Yeah.
of pig people. But,
But there is a Peebo on this ship.
well,
I
that's
don't
it.
remember who it is.
All right.
It's
Well, it's
Gunter.
you. Well,
Is it?
It's Gunter.
Shay, are
Is
you
it?
Is it though?
are you hungry at all?
Is it though?
Let's go find some food. Let's go find some food while we're waiting, and then just come back
So where do you want to go to find food?
where it looks like it has food.
Make a perception check. Make a perception check.
Okay. Want to help me find food? Want to help me forage in a city? 17.
Worth noting, it's a town, definitely not
Town.
a city, and it's smaller.
Hamlet.
It's significantly smaller than Port Quinn. What was it?
Hamlet. As I got a 17.
17. You, I mean, there is, now that you're thinking about food and looking for it, you're aware now, in general, there is this smoky, salty smell. Very faint, but in the air.
Yeah.
And it's been there almost the entire time that you've been here.
I'll follow it.
Okay.
It smells good.
Following it, you do pass, actually, so you would be passing, not the bent copper, but
Sly
Sly
flourish.
flourish.
Okay.
And looking in, you can see this very large, kind of like ham-armed woman talking to Gunter. And Morwen, you see that she passes away.
Oh.
You see a very, very familiar kind of Gunter leaning into Morwen and like a discussion happening.
Turn on my heel and I walk inside.
Yeah.
Like, looks like we found him.
So you turn and you walk in. Let's probably just switch up the music a little bit here for you.
We got the windows open in this bar.
No, the door is propped open though.
Oh, okay. Guess
Um,
everyone up here's got cold resistance.
It's so in the grand scheme of things, not as cold as it's gonna get.
Yeah.
Cold.
And it is technically, it is the 12th of deep winter. So you guys are like right in the beginning of like what is Alberon December.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't gotten truly cold yet.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, let me turn on this guy.
Oh, hey, guys.
Hey!
Hey.
We'll talk about the art later.
Yeah.
Is he drunk?
He's having a good time.
Let's talk about it.
Here, try it.
No, thanks. I need to eat. Do they have food here? Where
Hey,
did,
Big Sue, you got any food?
This woman lumbers over. Hello!
Oh.
Yeah, this
hey.
is Big Sue. This is Heinrich.
It's Heinrich. Nice to meet you.
Hendrik. Sorry.
This is
Yeah.
our friend.
Heinrich!
Yeah, thanks. Good roll. Do you serve food here? Sir?
Yeah, of course we serve food here.
What do you have on the menu?
A very
little
hearty
peckish.
beef stew. And we
Oh.
serve it in a trencher, free of charge.
A
All right,
what?
let's get
A trencher.
three
what?
of those.
Is he your friend too?
Yeah, he's a good.
You keep very, very
He's a good
interesting
guy.
company.
Yeah.
Gotta
All right,
keep it.
let's-
No one's normal.
Gotta
as
keep
far
it
as I
weird.
know.
I'm gonna throw another 5 silver. That's probably enough. Give us a couple of
no,
those.
What's
there.
Picks up all the
What's a trencher?
It's a bread. It's a bread hole.
Listen to your dwarf friend. It's
I've
a
literally never
long
heard
Wait, is that like a bread
bread.
hole?
Is that actually what it's called in real life?
You dig it out and
Give me- give me a second.
Trencher.
I was thinking like a pig.
I was thinking like a weird
Oh,
fantasy
man.
creature.
Have you never had a trencher?
I thought it's like.
All
you
right,
know,
Big Sue, get your best trenches out. It's trenching time.
Now they
We
sound like
only
pants.
have the
Trench
one
in
kind.
time.
Now they
but
sound
it's
like
our best.
rubber
All
pants.
right, so get that.
Trenchers, like a boot.
She turns and kind of
Stew in a
lumbers
boot.
over, and you can see she opens up a cupboard
Oh,
and
you're gonna
pulls out.
love this.
It's like a.
bread, but with soup.
I'd
like
like to
a-
hear Sue tell me about it. Jesus.
I could do it as soup.
You
You see?
Yeah, it's actually yeah.
You
Yeah,
see,
what is it?
She turns around and you can see in her hand this piece of almost like ciabatta in terms of the size, but shaped like a French loaf, and the entire middle part has been kind of scooped out, leaving the bottom.
She
And
called them
it's-
troughs.
Yeah, well, I didn't name them.
You should.
Or
I can't. They've already
bread
been named.
bowls.
Well, here.
I can't call you something different now that you're named Heinrich.
Right, but I have feelings.
Who would ever do that? And she goes over and reaches down below and pulls out, and it's like this kind of cold. And there's as she like ladles this big sloppy portion in. There's like this kind of greasy film on the top, but it's this very very hearty brown stew, almost like a chili consistency.
Okay, does it look good? Does it look old?
You know what? For growing up in Port Quinn, this looks very similar to a lot of things that you've eaten.
Okay.
It's like
It's simple food.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, beggars can't be choosers here.
No,
let's
I
be
know.
real.
Well, this is the first place that I stopped.
Trench it up.
I mean, sure.
Trench it up. Trench it up.
I'm just gonna go to town
Okay.
on this
Yeah,
trench.
Me
so
too.
you start going to town on this trencher, and actually for how it appears,
As a medium, like I'm calling it a trough.
and with this stew not being about room temperature, which is fairly chilly.
Shay, are
It's,
you in here? I'm sorry.
I
Did you?
am.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure.
Oh!
I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like I just ditched you outside.
no,
Get
she's
one
not-
for Shay too. Shay, you gotta try this trencher.
Sure.
you can just call it beef stew. A trencher is what it's served in.
Oh, well, it's the. It's,
Anyways.
I've never had
It's
it.
good. Did you make it?
No, I bought it from Gulliver General.
Oh,
Ah.
a pre-made.
Everything is pre-made.
Well, at what level, I guess, if that's how you're looking at it. But okay, it's good. Thank you for supplying it, I suppose. And I just go back to eat. I'm trying
Does
to be,
your friend
I'm
know
trying to be
that
polite.
in most places when you exchange money for goods, you get the goods? You're welcome.
Yeah. Just
I
trying to be
think that
nice.
She's got something wrong with her. She's talking about her aunt. It's a weird thing.
Shut up.
You.
Shut up.
And she
Shut up.
is now looking at you.
Yes.
You're from the Zinyi.
Yes, that's correct.
I had a whole bunch of you in here about a month ago, heading south.
Oh, well, Shay's friends.
Maybe. I don't know who Shay is.
That's her. She's got a bunch of friends.
Hi, Shay. I'm Big Sue.
Pleasure.
Yeah, a couple of your friends came in, and they were heading south from where they were coming from, and then I think they were going to the Lorebinder Academy.
How long ago was this? Do you remember?
About a month ago.
You haven't seen anyone since?
Well, there's those two gentlemen at the
I-
other end of the bar, and then I saw Gunter and
Yes.
Heimlich or Heinrich, and then also Morwin.
I meant
And
from,
Morwin and Gunter are my friends.
I meant from the
I
monastery.
kind of off to the side. I'm like, Shay, I think there's something wrong with Big Sue. She's got something about her aunt. She's just nice. Like,
Sorry, what was your question?
Anyone else from the monastery?
Since then?
Yep.
No, I'm sorry. A lot of you guys don't seem to come this far south unless you're part of a caravan.
That's true.
Which, actually, it's very strange. I haven't really seen a group like that. It was only 3 of you, and kind of younger, except for one.
Could you describe them?
Not especially.
I know it's been a while, but any details could be helpful.
Give me 1 second. Let me my notes. She's not. They were all monks, I think.
Okay. That's helpful, thank you.
Of course. Just 1 second, everybody. And she heads back down to the other side of the bar. Anything that you wish to do in the meantime?
So when are we leaving? We gotta get a move on.
What's going on? Where were you guys?
Waiting at the edge of town like we
all
agreed.
right, well, we're gonna
Yeah.
go.
And then we got hungry, and
All right, so Big Sue's
Saw
got
you
an
here.
aunt, and she's missing a necklace, and it sounds pretty valuable. So I think we're gonna try.
Okay,
to steal
how
it
drunk
from
is
her
he?
aunt.
Pretty.
okay. So we need to head north still, right?
Yes.
I'm just totally ignoring this
But maybe-
scheme thing.
Okay, so
Hey, Big Sue, does your aunt live in the north?
Should we?
She comes back now holding 2 fresh pitchers and puts one in front of you.
Oh,
Oh, jeez, more.
Well, he paid up front and he said, keep them coming. And I'm gonna do just that.
I did do that. That's what I did.
What was your question now, friend?
Where's your aunt live?
My aunt? Oh, my aunt!
Yeah.
Well, it's not so much important where she lives, but more important that she's coming here tonight.
Okay, but like, if there was a place where she lived, where would it be?
What is this about an aunt?
Technically. Well, not
She's
any
got an
established
aunt.
house. It's just a very simple one.
Alright.
Small, really.
Bottoms up, and I
You
just
would know
cheers
that
them.
actually Gunter inadvertently just asked in Thieves Camp.
Yeah. I was gonna say like where are the
What,
subtitles?
what organization this contact belonged to, and she essentially said it's not a large crime ring or syndicate that you'd be familiar with. It is a small-time operation.
Oh, great.
Like,
Noted.
so you guys just met and you're already talking about family and stuff. This is
She
great.
wants
But
us
she's
to
our
meet her
friend.
aunt. I think we could probably steal some stuff from her.
Why would you want to steal
What are you
anything?
talking?
Oh, again, let's wait and talk about my aunt later.
Well,
just
we
chugging the
unfortunately
beer.
have
She's
to
busy.
be going
She's
soon.
busy.
So I don't think that we're gonna be
I'm down.
unfortunately
with it.
able to help with your aunt and whatever it may be. That we're heading north and we're kind of not necessarily.
Roll a
We don't have a lot of time
persuasion
on
check.
ourselves.
I,
Time to ourselves.
You just heard in Thieves Camp, Heinrich basically, and from the way that Heinrich said it, it would be like somebody coming in and
I
like
wouldn't-
in Spanish being like, "Yo soy Heinrich."
Yeah,
like
but
very
it's also.
poor Thieves Camp.
Is she stupid enough to realize that like I am not talking in these?
No, she totally knows that you're
Okay.
not aware of what you're
Okay,
saying, but
good.
You do hear Heinrich saying,
Anyways,
Thieves can't.
persuasion, you said?
Yes.
19.
Basically saying, we need more money for this. But she does kind of like look you up and down, and then kind of turns and looks at you.
Are you playing?
Well, perhaps we could figure out some way to encourage you to stay a little longer. It's been so long since our aunt has seen you.
I don't
We've
know
never
who your
even
aunt
met.
is.
What
I'm
is-
so
How do
sorry.
I diffuse this
She's
in
weird,
Thieves'
right?
Camp?
We
Like,
should
how do
steal
I?
from her.
No, we're not
I want,
doing
I
any
want
of
to
that.
tell her.
Allie, you can also say.
Shay, I don't know. I
"In
might
Thieves'
need
Camp,
your
I say."
help with getting
In
this
Thieves'
one out of
Camp,
here.
I
We need to get a
tell
move on as
her
far as I can tell.
that
Absolutely, we need to get a move on. But if he's drunk off
Thank
his
you. The
ass-
party has different ideas in mind, but if I can come back and help you, I will.
So you would say, or you hear Morwen say, we have
That's so
another
confusing.
pressing engagement, but family is very important. And if we can, we'll be back later.
Okay. I'd be like, great, I guess. You didn't tell me you guys were all family and had
We're
a
not
communal aunt.
family. She's got a weird aunt. We were gonna steal.
You know
from
what?
her.
Something else is going on here, and I don't care to be part of it. I'm going to finish, and we're leaving.
Morwen,
as far
I
as I can
appreciate whenever somebody comes in that really understands what's going on.
Same. It's been so
Yeah.
long.
You
You're
know,
a
it's
wise
real tough.
member of this world.
Let's finish and go.
Way ahead of you.
Oh, and she takes the other picture and slides it over.
I
And you're
intercept it.
Well,
I absolutely intercept it, and I sort of pour it a little bit for all of us. Like, I guess we've been talking about, we're all family here, so we share.
okay. He ordered one more after that, too.
That one, give it to
That's for you.
give it to the people down the end of the bar, and I just gaze over and don't even like really register. I
Yeah, big
would have
silver.
pointed there anyways if there was no one down there.
Do that thing, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I would have seen that as I'm grabbing this
Thieves
interrupted.
can't-
Make a sleight of hand check.
Oh God.
In Thieves Can't, I tell her to not give Gunter any more. We've got shit to do. He's
Oh,
got to
that's
stay
okay. 'Cause I got
clear-headed.
a 6.
Okay. So you watch as Gunter just goes and just like starts passing over the
And
table.
like so, after having moved the picture, I also grab his wrist. And I'm
grab
just
his
like,
wrist?
Gunter, no.
And you
Just
also
no.
hear Morwen say, this reunion's getting really crowded, and we really do need to be going. At which point she says, oh, okay, why didn't you say so? And she kind of takes this, she turns, and there's this moment where you see, like, all of you see her
Oh,
wink at Gunter.
yes.
And she kind of, like, moves away. What are you guys doing?
I mean, we're done eating at this point, yeah.
Yeah.
Like we should leave now. We should go because that's what we're here to do is to
Alright,
leave.
Just let me get your last other trench.
No. Okay, you can eat the bowl. That's fine.
You're just chewing
You
on
can
this,
eat
like,
my
solid-
trough.
And also, throughout this encounter, I probably have sipped half of my beer.
Take it for
I did
the
not
road.
finish it.
I'm gonna finish her beer then too.
Okay.
No, I'm
Roll a
gonna-
Constitution
I'm
save.
No,
gonna
no,
get
no,
up
I'm gonna
to,
be like,
No, we're all
no.
preventing Gunter from drinking anymore.
Yes.
There's no way Gunter has
Is
any
there-
more
no,
alcohol.
wait. Is
Go
there, like,
ahead
an
and
empty
I'm
cup
gonna
near
turn
me?
and grab it.
Can I like slide a hand, just try to like?
Make a sleight of hand check.
Okay.
Can I just
So
grab
Gunter doesn't?
and drag him
Man,
out?
don't roll anything yet, Matt. What?
Can I just grab Gunter and drag him out?
What is that?
After
may not
this,
need to.
yeah.
What is
I
that?
don't know.
It's
you
a
told me.
13 plus whatever.
Sleight of hand. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. That's a 24.
So, Gunter, as you pick up your glass to down it, you realize you must have drinking more than you realized because it's empty.
I'm gonna eat the other trencher though.
Okay, you take the rest of the trencher, and as you guys get up, turning to leave, Big Sue approaches and says, "Oh, Gunter, you dropped your bag!" And she holds up this brown, kind of like very very cheap looking leather sack.
Is it mine?
No, definitely not.
What's in it?
It kind of sloshes a little bit.
He's feeling the beers. Very very good quality beers. Thank you very much. And I'm just gonna scoot us all
Yeah,
out.
he has it, so you can grab it from him if you want.
I'm gonna.
No, I'm just trying to shoo us
Tuck
out
it
now.
away.
And let her know. Thank you.
Can I slice it open with the dagger?
No.
If you want to try, you can certainly try.
I'm gonna try to stop you if I see this happen. Okay.
I'm not gonna do that.
You guys head out the door with Big Sue. Goodbye, friends, and Heinrich, and also Shay, as you guys progress out and
just
back
gonna,
into the
like,
cult. You emerge onto this street now. It's getting significantly darker between the snow and the actual time of day. You guys probably have about 4 o'clock. What do you want to do?
Is it wise to travel by night?
Not
Reaching
excessively.
into the big Sue bag.
Your hand goes right into liquid as you reach into the
However-
remains of your beer that she packaged for you to go. In a very
I don't
makeshift
know how
wine
smart it
set.
is staying here with Gunter.
Constitution saving.
I mean, it's not. We need to keep him away from civilization as much as possible. That much is clear.
22.
22, okay. You pound this beer down, and you get right past the point where you first feel a little bit kind of tipsy, and you get to the point where you no longer are aware that you're tipsy. But it doesn't seem to negatively affect you, especially.
Oh, Gunter, you still got it.
You all hear him say as he slides this pouch right into his little gunt area.
Ew.
You stand out and
Yeah.
All right, let's get going.
Sure, if he's
Let's
ready to
take-
finally go.
I've been ready. We've been.
Do
We
we
were
have,
waiting for you. Stop
do we have
by.
camping supplies?
Yeah,
We
I
do.
assume you guys do.
Okay.
I don't have your inventories in front of me, but
Yeah, I'm
so
fairly
the
certain
adventurous
that we
kit that you
don't
begin
lose
with does have a bedroll, a
Yeah,
horse
yeah.
and tent.
And we have like the tent and everything.
Yeah.
I don't, but I'm fine.
Yeah. Let's. You know this land better than any of us. I would defer to you.
I suggest that we head northwest toward the Lorebinder Academy.
Okay.
It's going to be the fastest and the relative safest that we're going to be able to manage.
All right. Let's go. I have no other. I have no business here, and I think we should kind of avoid as many
I mean, I'm following
self-induced pitfalls as possible.
Yes.
So leaving now.
So we're not gonna go steal from this aunt?
you. Well, we can later. We can figure it out later.
I got you.
So what are you guys doing?
We're leaving.
Leaving. Let's go.
So you follow Shay's direction. You guys are going to head northwest through the Lorebinder Academy. Shay would know. This is going to take you through the Knoll Hills. Probably about 3 days on foot. You guys are going to travel through this kind of cold plains area, get to the hills, which are probably frozen over at this time of year. They're called the Knoll Hills for a reason.
Yep.
It is a dangerous place to traverse. However, for your group, probably not terribly so. The Lorebinder Academy is about 3 days on foot northwest.
Okay.
You guys depart walking.
Yeah.
The road out is like the same pearlspun path, beautiful kind of cobblestone that's been laid with brick along the side for maybe 10 minutes outside of town, where suddenly, very abruptly, it just ends and becomes probably dirt, although there's just snow.
Sure.
Oh,
At this moment, it is almost unbroken. There are like old footprints that are now being covered, but it doesn't appear as if anybody's traveled this way recently, at least not within the last hour.
That's good.
Should we be concerned at all about covering our tracks?
That would cost us probably a lot of time if we were to walk backwards in dust.
oh wait, I've got this.
Morwen, so
Um,
that you know, we're likely being followed anyway.
So it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter.
Sweet.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was
When
gonna-
I met up with Shay, she was shaken, and if something causes her to be shaken, then we gotta be careful.
Are we gonna die?
Eventually, yeah.
Everybody dies someday. Unless
So
you
the
become a god.
287-year-old dwarf.
Yeah. You would know, he's probably seen the most amount of people die.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Morin's sad now.
So, as you guys press onwards a little bit, it is, I mean, already as you reach the edge of town, getting fairly dark.
Okay.
So you guys need to make a decision. How long do you want to push on for? Because the snow's starting to come down.
Yeah. I mean,
it
in terms
is-
of like points along the way, again, how well do you know the land? Would you know of any good places to like turn off and gain a semblance of cover? Not necessarily from the thing you would immediately fear, but any other local dangers.
I don't think I would know this particular landscape because we're not that far out of town.
No.
Wouldn't know it that well.
Could we all like maybe look and make the call, or like make a?
What are you
I
trying
guess.
to do?
I guess like is it?
Are we
would
in
it
like
be?
a foresty area?
Are you what?
Are we in like a foresty area?
So right now,
Can I do
there
a
is-
tree shimmy?
There are very, very scarce trees, and they're getting smaller as you progress.
So
You
we're going to
remember-
like open tundra, kind of.
Yes.
Okay.
The Knoll Hills, you would know. Very much these rolling hills. There's a tundra in front of it that you guys will have to cross. It's about like half a day's travel of just flatness. When you get to the hill portion, there are like scant a tree here, a tree there. But because of the nature of the winds that come through, there isn't a lot of plant life settling. There is grass during the summer and spring. It is currently covered with snow.
So in terms of cover to set up a camp, the tundra is before the rolling hills, kind of.
Correct.
And the tundra, we could probably make it across, and then
If you would like to try,
Yeah, how
Shay
long-
would know. Probably, if you push through, you could make it to the beginnings of these hills, the foothills, probably by midnight.
I mean, if this is the way that we're going, it's quite open, but also looks quite dead. If we just push through until there's any type of cover that we could find and make.
The only issue might be if the storm gets worse, but
This is true. This is true. Is this the easiest path?
it's not the easiest path, but it's the easiest that's not going to take us forever.
Yeah. Time's better, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I'll vote push on as far as we can until we start seeing a place to set up a camp.
Not opposed.
So as you guys walk, what is your marching order?
Well, before we start marking, I'm like, it's gonna be okay. Thank you for all of this. And I like lay my hand on. Do you have like bracers or something? And I cast light on your bracer so you can see.
It's more like a wrap than an actual bracer, but yeah.
Okay. Anything that would be within,
Yeah.
be to cast light so you can see in the dark now.
Wow.
And so
Yay.
as Heinrich touches the bracer, along the hemline of the wraps themselves, there's this light that spreads and then bursts out of this cloth, and it now glows within your hand, casting a little bit of light around you.
Well, there you go.
And I kind
New
of
trick?
like, oh,
Gotta check.
there
That's
you
a great
go.
question. So as you guys push on, what is your marching order?
Well, I suppose with that, I will be first.
I'll get the rear.
Yeah, I'll get me behind Shay. So,
Okay.
Shay, me, Gunter, Morwen.
So I have
Morwen.
Shay,
Pushing Gunter forward.
Yeah. You're a de facto caretaker now.
Steering with the shoulder.
Shay, as you were leading this,
Mhm.
and have you make a survival check. It would typically be at advantage. However, it is getting very dark. Even with the light spell, it's not casting enough light to really see too far into the way. So flat roll.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
Nice.
Okay, so you guys begin to progress. My answer to you for your question, by the way, yes, you can.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
cool idea.
Cool.
You push on for an hour when it gets dark. You continue to progress. You can see right as the light fades on your to the west, there are the huge. It's the mountain range. The Fremion Mountains that just separate the eastern coast from Sarentil proper. There's another mountain range, and then the west coast. But you see just these mountains looming up right as the light kind of fades. With a passive perception of 19, you do see a bird.
Okay.
You can't tell what kind. It's just a very, very dark shape, and you can't tell even what size. But just a dark shape before the sun sets, and the gray clouds become black.
Okay.
But you push on for another hour. At this point, the trees that you've been passing are becoming like almost shrubbery, just barely holding on to this cold landscape. It is getting colder. And you notice just beyond the typical nighttime coldness, as the wind picks up a little bit, it is bitingly cold. But you push on. Make a perception check.
I'm not good at that.
Let's get around like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
Passive 18.
18. You continue on without too much trouble, and looking around, you begin right around 10 o'clock, starting to look for places that might make a good place to stop in. It's tough. There's not a lot around. You do find, getting close to 11 o'clock, you haven't seen a tree in 10, 20 minutes, but you do find the first beginnings of like a hill, fairly flat, only about like 10 feet tall at its highest point. But as the snow has kind of drifted, it's created a drift that creates almost like a wall of snow that you could maybe tuck into and at least have from the other side some cover.
I feel like that's a smart place to stop, at least for the night.
Okay. Seems fair to me.
Can I build a little igloo?
We gotta do that thing.
Okay. So Morwen, in this cold, you're like, it's cold for you. Even beneath the fur and the clothes and the magical armor, very cold. And so you start thinking about shelter, and you've heard of this idea of like creating an ice house. And as you start thinking about ways of doing it, and you look at your paws, you hear Gunter start like making noises. How do you cast this spell?
I think I'm gonna like scoop up some snow and be like,
So you see Gunter lift up some snow and kind of look at it, and as he begins to rub it in his hands, the whiteness shimmers with this bluish energy, and as he spreads it out, the snow itself bursts and seems to almost coalesce into a brick, and one by one the snow falling like into a brick and into a brick, and slowly you watch as Gunter shapes water
Control water is nice. Very
into
good.
shape or control water into an igloo. How big are you making this igloo?
Large enough for, I think, the four of us to comfortably...
Oh, thank God. Not just
What
you.
is the size of water that you can enter with
Inside an area up to a cube 100 feet on a side.
Easy, yeah.
Oh
You can
man,
make-
do I
Oh,
just
this
make
is-
a giant ice? I'm making 100
You're
foot ice
Elsa!
fortress.
You're
Yeah.
Elsa!
This is the same. Oh my god. And
I'm
Gunter's
just
like,
making an ice fortress that's 100 feet.
Making clear that,
Gunter's
but,
letting it go.
So, yeah, Gunter, for a minute, or for a brief period, holds on to the arcane energy and then lets it go.
However much
Yeah.
I can make, the largest structure I can make within the 10-minute
Do
duration.
you want, like, Minecraft cube structure,
That's
or do you want, like,
amazing.
an actual, like
I want it to
igloo-looking-
be like,
Elsa Ice Palace.
yeah, like a fortress that is, if it weren't made of snow, pretty formidable.
Make a performance check.
oh gosh.
God.
Sleeping outside tonight in my tent.
This is a 6.
Yeah. So Gunter shapes this ice blocks, and he begins very promisingly. Just poof, block goes down, poof, block goes down. But as Gunter is very gleeful with this, it becomes this thing where he's just trying to put them down faster and faster and like create this structure. It kind of starts, when you make a sandcastle and like sides start
Yeah.
like
Well, it's
caving in a little
usually
bit.
when you start to
Yeah.
like get too fancy with it.
Yeah, and so like beginning, bits start crumbling in, and whereas before it looked very promising, it ends up looking like something that a bunch of kids made on their snow day off. It,
Okay.
like the big
Is it safe?
snow.
Does it look stable?
Structurally sound.
Make an investigation check.
Oh my god.
But yeah, it looks like the big snow plowed mountain was like hollowed out by some kids. That's what this looks like. It's not 100 feet on a side. It is roughly. I mean, you guys
21.
Easily comfortably be within this. As you look at it, you wouldn't light a fire in there, but for the evening, yeah, it'll probably be okay.
Is there any way to like
I'm crawling
reinforce it?
You tell me what you want to do.
in. I'm crawling in.
Can I try to just like
You don't have to crawl. This is big enough where it encompasses roughly the area of this entire apartment. A little smaller than that, and the roof is caved in parts, and you can still see like there's like little bits of snow coming through here and there, but it is relatively windproof.
can we
I crawl in
with
anyway.
can we with fire melt it all together? Like just pass over to like
Well,
get
'cause
it to start to melt and then
obviously-
freeze over.
Yeah,
First
In more
thing
like a
I'm
solid
doing
shape.
is going in and starting a fire. Of course.
Okay, so
It would
how
be-
are you starting a fire?
Well, I mean, create bonfire. I have that cantrip
You
now.
have that?
I just have that now.
Oh, go for it. I
So
mean,
outside
you can
of
do
it,
that.
not inside of it.
Do that.
I'm just gonna be like, all right, it looks like we could probably reinforce this a bit and get like torches out or whatever,
Mhm.
and just kind of like
There's-
I just kind of like instinctively.
And as you do that, the end of the torch, you can see like the brush and stuff that's been compacted in twists and blackens before into an actual flame.
So there's just like a bonfire that fills up a 5-foot cube that's there for like a minute of us lighting and
I'm
then
just
doing
gonna
this.
sit down next to it and be like,
Impressive.
Yeah.
So you take some time
Thanks.
and you,
yeah, you
trick.
started a fire. I built an ice palace.
you started a fire on a torch. But
Palace.
No. I started it like
Okay.
on the ground and it can
Fair
just
enough.
sustain for a full minute.
So in the actual snow, the snow around it does begin to kind of like melt and stuff, but you have this fire out.
I'm taking the full minute to like get warm again too.
Sure. The two of you take the full minute to get warm with this.
Wait, are you
magical
inside or
bonfire.
outside?
No.
outside.
I didn't want to do that inside.
You
I'm
crawling on
melting
the inside, despite the fact that it is the doorway itself, maybe like 6 feet tall. It is not especially warmer, but the wind does not penetrate the walls of the space, and so it's dark and it's cavernous, but it is at least keeping you separated from the elements outside.
All right, I'm gonna start building little snow furniture.
Okay. Make a performance check.
So we'll solidify the outside while you're doing the decorations, right?
Okay.
No, you know what? Instead of furniture, I'm gonna build snowmen of all of us.
Oh.
Because that's helpful.
Make a performance check. What is Shay doing while all of this is happening? Two of them set up to make a fire immediately.
It's not
You
stable.
watch as Morwen
do
begins
you
to
want to
kind
help
of like
maybe?
pack snow
Stable,
together.
stable.
26.
It'll be fine. Just cover your head.
Yeah.
Cover my head.
Yeah, if it collapses a little.
So with
then
the
you get,
so
like
with the
a
three of us, how
thick
effective
blanket.
can we be in this process?
Fairly effective. And,
Okay.
and taking a little bit of time, you take the torch
Mhm.
that you light with the bonfire,
Mhm.
and you hold it over, and like as bits begin to melt, you like smooth it over and pull the torch away, and just repeatedly doing this
Over
you're able
the
to-
over the entranceway too, while it's still kind of damp or whatever, and there's a little give to it. I'm just gonna write a quick FG over the entrance.
Sure, you do that, and
not
during
gonna
the
be here
process
tomorrow,
of this
we're gonna
time,
blow it up.
Morwen actually like leaves and comes back a couple times.
Uh-huh.
Once you guys finish what you're doing, what are you doing?
Helping this process.
Help with this process.
I'm not helping, but when
I'm not helping.
Oh my god!
No.
And like, you got this. Guidance.
If there's a roll that is needed, okay.
So,
Yeah.
you guys complete this process. As you come into the
Warmed up by
actual
the fire.
structure itself, you are greeted
Stay nice and
by
toasty.
5 figures. You see
got what?
Veal Morwen
Yeah.
in the middle, standing right next to this very, very well done Snow Morwen. You can see
Just
little,
like, "Ah,
little twigs
nice."
have been put in to like make the whiskers.
Where did you find those
You can
twigs?
see
That's
this,
great.
this is where she's been going. Like you can, and as you come in,
Foraging.
you remember seeing like there are areas where the snow has been dug away, like
Yeah,
things
yeah.
have been pulled off the ground. You can see there is like this little Gunter. The beard itself, like made out of snow, and actually, like because Gunter's beard is snow white, it is this perfect rendition of his beard. You can see these 2 little pebbles making beady eyes. One's like slightly off to the side. You see Heinrich with actual like bits of branches that have been stuck in to make antlers.
I point and laugh. I'm like, nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's one black stone and one lighter stone.
Wow, detail.
You can see
Really
that,
nice.
yeah, and a very, very convincing shape with a fairly straight stick that is just like a staff planted into the ground through the snowy hand.
Huh.
Very, very finely crafted snow people.
Gang's all
I do a little, like-
here. Thank you. Thank
Nice
you.
job.
And then you go, kapah! And I hit one.
Which one?
Uh-oh. You did this to yourself.
Which one? You already said it. Which one?
I'm walking in as this happens.
Yours.
I'm like, oh, that...
And as you
not so
say,
nice.
well done. She just pow punches the snow Heinrich's head.
Yeah, I recoil as the snow hits me in the face and just kind of, huh, okay. Don't know what that's supposed to mean, but all right, I will. Good thing I don't sleep anymore.
And you, yeah. Is there anything else that you guys wish to do before bedding down for the evening? I assume that you're
Yes.
keeping watch as you don't need to sleep.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna be.
I'm gonna go up to Shay's snow person, and I'm gonna pretend to do her monkey stuff and be like, whoop.
Okay. You go up to the
You do that.
statue and you make some noises and you do some moves. You feel however you feel doing that.
And then I go up to Gunter's, and I yank his beard.
And the head
Crumbles.
topples off.
And
The
then I
head
go
doesn't,
up,
it's actually it's well made enough that the beard crumbles apart separately and the head does not.
and then I go up to mine,
He's like a cleft chin. Okay.
and I
elbow
say,
drop it.
very nice.
I elbow drop hers as she's going up to it.
Oh no, I was gonna.
You go
Wait.
up and you tap this, and all of a sudden, there's just this like poof of snow as Gunter like dives through it.
That's what you get for yanking my beard.
Oh, since the rest of your body's still up, then I'm just gonna like get on my. I'm gonna do like a back kick with both feet of his body.
You like jump up, flattening your body in the air, and softly land on your hands, kicking into the actual snowman. Snow Gunter is annihilated. Just like one leg kind of still snow built into the ground.
I don't want to escalate things.
I mean, you're drunk,
What are you guys
so
doing?
shoot
Not
a
at
guiding
this
bolt.
point.
No, not anymore. He's
You guys
walked it off.
walk,
He's
you guys
walked it
walk
off.
for like 5 hours.
Okay,
true.
'cause
It's
I was
also
about
very
to-
cold.
I was about to pee on Morwin's statue, but I'm not going to do that because I'm not drunk anymore. So I'm
So as the snow settles,
not going to escalate things.
it is probably pushing midnight at this point.
Mhm.
You guys are very tired.
Yeah.
Been done for the evening?
Well, I used the snow that I brought in from making all the people,
Okay.
and I'm gonna make myself a little bed.
Good. Not too much trouble. You pack together a little
gonna be real
Morwin-sized
cold.
rectangle.
Well, it's gonna be like a little pillow, and I'm gonna curl up on it. I'm not gonna like pull it over like a sheet.
And
or
the rest of
anything.
the ground
What do you
is
mean
also
cold?
snow, so it's, yeah. Relatively speaking, it's a
Right.
more comfortable cold.
Yeah, why not just use your bedroll
I don't have one.
here? And I just pull mine out. I'm like, you can have this one.
Thanks. I put it on top of the pillow.
Okay, you
That
lay
I
it out.
made?
on
Yeah,
top
no,
of this
that's.
little
I was
snow
expecting you. Yeah, like you make the snow pile to make it like a down bed or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a nice
Wait,
little sheet
but it,
on a
wait, is it
snow
like a
bed.
sleeping bag?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's like a leather roll that has some kind of softer material on the inside. It's like an old-fashioned sleeping bag.
Okay, then I'm gonna go in it and like curl up in a little donut in it.
You
On
do
the
a
pillow.
little cat like walk in a circle and then
Yeah.
okay.
But underneath, like,
Sure.
so it's weird looking.
You watch as like this she crawls into the actual like the tail disappears on the inside.
and then like
You
the
see these
shape
lumps
just goes like
kind of
ooh.
circle around
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
slowly settle.
And then the last
I
bit
feel good
is my
about
tail
that.
just rolls out a little bit on the end.
Yeah. Just every now and then you just see
Yeah.
kind of flicking.
Mhm.
Anything you want to do before you guys bed down for the evening?
No.
Okay. The three of you go to sleep. Heinrich, you
Do some reading of the book more and
and you don't find yourself tiring at all. It's at this point you've been up for like 2 days in a row,
yeah.
not feeling any kind of exhaustion, not feeling any kind of fatigue.
I'm kind of just like, all this time. And I
Your
just pull.
glasses break.
Yeah.
You make a perception check.
Okie dokie. Go on. No. 11.
Okay. Night passes without issue.
I feel like I would do like a walk around, not
Yeah.
too far from it, but like patrol every
Yeah.
once in a while out into the snow.
I will say there is a period of time towards like right when you're beginning to notice like, oh, I can actually see things in the distance again.
Mhm.
Still snowing hard, but like beginning to get a little bit lighter out.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that there are tracks in the snow. Some kind of make a survival check.
Sweet. They're footprints. 6.
Hard to tell if the footprints are just heavy elements of snow that have fallen as you guys have moved around, as Morwen kind of pick things up. There are areas of the snow that are disturbed. As the snow falls, it becomes like very soft kind of divots that aren't terribly
Do any-
unnatural, and so it's hard to tell which was which.
Do any lead off from the more obviously like are around the like the setting up of it? Do
they
any
don't
like
get-
do
they
any
don't get
like go
terribly
off?
close to your encampment?
Right.
And looking at it, it seems kind of like it heads off towards the west, and that it came from roughly the direction you came in.
So it came from the direction we're coming, and it kept going the direction we were heading.
More
Or
west
like-
than where you guys are heading. It seems like it almost kind of curves and
Okay,
heads off.
branches off. Okay. Is there anything that I can see in that direction?
Maker, with your other perception check, as you kind of gaze into the darkness, snow falling, you don't see anything.
No shapes. No. Nothing
No,
stands
but
out.
now that you've seen these tracks,
I'm not even looking for like people necessarily. I'm looking for like a tree line or like. Okay.
Not a whole lot. It's still pretty dark and it's still snowing pretty hard.
Okay.
But
I'm wary now.
at this point, it is about to be 10 o'clock, so we'll take our break here. And we will come back in the morning of your guys' day and at 10:15 in real time. So we'll be back in about 20 minutes. We'll see you then. And welcome back to Adventures in Alberon. Thank you guys very much for sticking with us through the break. Sorry, it always catches me off guard every single time that we do that.
Yeah, the secret shot.
Yeah, the secret shot.
It's not going to be secret right now.
It's not a
Never
secret
been, it
anymore.
hasn't been a secret for a very long
No.
time. Oh man, but that really, it catches you. So,
Shit hurts.
when we left off, we've been coming back. Heinrich, you stayed awake for the night, noticing that there were tracks heading off past your guys' camp, but not seeing anything that they belonged to.
West, not northwest, which is where we're headed.
Correct, yeah, sorry, to the west. Talon said, I'm not going to lie, that scared me. Yeah, because it comes back from like our like nice dramatic music to
Well, I've been sitting here for 10 minutes.
It's true. He's been doing the sound.
Committed
the whole time.
to it. I'm committed to it.
Yeah, he didn't move.
I can't see the chat. Oh well.
You what?
He didn't move.
Yeah, he didn't move at all.
Can see the
Didn't even take a breath.
Well, I was
Just-
moving like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but didn't even take a breath. It was just
Heinrich
a-
doesn't need to sleep. I don't need to breathe.
That's fair. Yeah, that's real life.
Logic.
Yeah, watch me
100%.
drink and vape at the same time and never breathe.
Oh
I'm
Jesus,
just kidding.
that seems dangerous and not very pleasant.
Yeah,
Do it!
It's true. It's the truth.
So, Heinrich, you stayed awake for the night,
Yeah.
seeing these things as light comes. All of you can mark off a long rest. Without
Word.
issue,
Nothing changes.
You make it through the night.
Some things change.
You got a
Gunter's
spell back.
swapping some spells out
Yeah.
because clerics have 4,000 spells.
Yep. Swiss Army knives.
So, coming to consciousness, you all awake. It's a little disorienting because it is dark. The snow is falling heavily about, and you would notice this over the course of the evening. Close to a foot falls.
Woof.
It's right on the edge of like blizzard-like conditions.
It's nothing.
And Shay, you are aware that this is nothing.
This is nothing.
It's going to get a lot colder.
Mhm.
However, it is morning.
Mhm.
What would you like to do?
Good morning, everyone. I saw tracks last night heading west. Just to point that out.
Probably as you guys come to consciousness, Heinrich's like ready to
I'm
tell you. 'cause he
I'm
has
sitting
not
there
slept.
like, yeah. I'll get used to this eventually, but right now I'm like, oh, you're awake. Good. Good. There's tracks going to the west.
How long? Did you sleep at all?
No.
Are you okay?
I think so. Hold on, and then. Yeah, I'm fine.
I don't know. You seem a little like
Just the rattling of scales as
Yeah.
you do that.
little.
I thaumaturgy
very
them
good.
Gotta
louder.
squint real hard.
Are you,
at
when's
it.
the last time you've slept?
Try to like,
You do
what's
so.
going on?
It's been about 2
What's going
days.
on?
Make a perception check.
Since
This guy.
the things that happened in Port Quint.
Passive.
Since your
Yeah.
eye?
Okay,
It's
one
see.
second.
You always keep forgetting about that.
Well,
Yeah.
I have to look at it all day.
That's true. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's fine. I'm fine. But yeah, since then I haven't been sleeping.
I'm gonna keep an
Gunter,
eye
as
on
you
that.
That's
gaze
all.
at Heinrich
That's
while he
all.
talks,
And I don't
you
need
look
a
at his
black
eyes,
eye.
Do you want
see-
to come see the tracks?
he has the one black eye and the one gold eye, but
It's also
no
acting
bags
like a
under them,
bandit.
no
Hold that.
signs of fatigue, no bloodshotness to the,
I'm like
the little
craning
bits
my
of
neck up.
the sclera that you can see. Doesn't look tired. Outside
Like
of
I
that,
said,
I don't see any real changes.
I'm fine.
You doing drugs?
No.
Did you? I checked my stuff for my bunta.
Okay. The vial that you have remaining, still there.
But I do it like I mean, I'm clearly
yes,
searching, but
I'm
I'm
fine,
like,
good.
I don't want them to see like me take it out.
No, you're kind of like touching all
No.
over, but you're really looking for the Buddha.
Look well rested.
I don't need to. I don't know. I don't know why. I never felt the urge. I tried when we were on the ship and it didn't work, and then I tried when we were.
So what did you do all night?
Well, I kept watch. I mean, I read.
Did
I
you
read
watch
a bit.
us sleep?
No. I watched around, and like I said, there's tracks headed west, which is not the direct direction we're heading, but something seems to have been following us and went a little out of our path.
It's fine.
It's
Let it go.
fine.
Let
This
it
guy's
go.
been watching us sleep, and there's someone
I'm
following
not
us.
watching you sleep. I'm watching out for you while you sleep. There's a lot of words you're dropping there. It's
Right now, everybody, all 5 figures, or all 4 figures other than you, are like staring at you at this moment.
who's the fourth?
Oh, it's Snowshay.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's the only one that
The only one
didn't
that
get
wasn't
kicked.
knocked down.
Wait, no, I karate chopped her.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were
just
doing it like
hitting.
in front of her, like. you were,
Oh
like, doing,
no,
like, a
I know. I
sparring
was.
thing. Fair enough.
Yeah.
The other 3 figures are all staring at you.
Yes.
If snow shay. He's
I am
just the
sorry.
last standing.
I'm sorry that it's
Most
unsettling.
judgmental.
You made their
The
snowman
snow shay
judgmental
face
too.
is just like,
Yeah.
I kind of thought it was one of those things where like everybody's just kind of nervous to break Shay's snow stuff.
oh no, I broke them all.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right, they're all broken.
Yeah, I mean, well, sorry that this makes you feel uncomfortable. I assure you I'm fine, but
As long as you're fine.
You still
you're fine.
shooting maggots out of your hands?
no, you saw I did the fire and the light thing, and as far as I
Try
can tell,
some-
well,
no, do something else.
okay.
Do that. Do the.
Okay, yeah, sure. Everyone out of the hut. Everyone out of the hut, and I back out.
It's like,
What's he gonna do to?
Okay, out of the castle. Everyone out of the castle. Get your stuff. We're moving anyways, right? I just wanted to
All right,
test
fine.
something.
We pack up all our shit, and
Okay.
Not a hut.
I take your bedroll.
That's fine. You can keep it. I don't apparently
I
need
keeps
it
a
anymore.
bedroll.
Okay, you can add a bedroll to your inventory.
Where I sleeps, I keeps.
Fantastic.
So
I pick up the pile of snow. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, you can keep the snow too. You don't have a bag of colding though. You can't. It'll
Of
just melt.
colding?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
That is the thing.
Oh, I thought you were just being.
No, you guys
Cute.
actually
D&D
ran
has been
into-
around long enough too that all of the puns have already been made.
Oh, definitely
Excuse
not.
me.
Not all of them.
No.
A lot of them.
The come together Beatles thing.
No, that was the most clever reference I've seen in a long
Thank
time.
you.
Period. Not even just in this
Anyway.
podcast.
Moving
Podcast
on.
show stream.
Anyways,
Moving on.
Anywho's it.
campaign.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah. So as everyone gets
This
out.
is the chaos of Adventures in Alberon.
Yeah, exactly. As
Where I
everyone
sleep
exits, I'm
like
like, you want to see? I think this is going to be safe. I'm just going to do it anyways.
You
And
think?
here we Eldritch Blast at the castle just to destroy it. Both teams.
As you reach your hands out.
Oh, I whip out my shit just in case there's maggots.
Okay, sure.
That's totally fair.
As you reach your hands out, the space in front of them, very Doctor Strange-like, the air shimmers and then becomes these glowing celestial glyphs. They spread out and in these very complex patterns, spin and turn, and all of a sudden from them, these two brilliant, bright blue bursts of force energy like ripple through the air. The snow that is falling very heavily, like shattering around, not shattering, being blown out from the force as they streak towards the snow castle. Rupturing and just exploding this thing. The
Cool.
outside of it, which had been hardened by you guys the previous night, shattering as like shards of ice spray out. The interior part, snow just crumbles down, and it's left this just like huge opening hole. How much damage was it?
So both bolts totaled 7 plus my charisma because I took that and I also took repelling blast.
Yeah.
So it pushes it extra far back.
This entirety just out and just into the darkness. There is like this missing. You can actually see
I
like
guess
the
plus
dead
charisma
grass
5, so
underneath.
12.
You can see like stones and stuff where the entirety, like a foot and a half of snow, just blown away.
Yeah.
With the rest of this fortress.
Well, there's a little chunk left still down there.
There's gonna be a dragon.
You're gonna what?
There's gonna be a dragon.
What do you mean you were gonna be a dragon? Oh, I feel like that's a little too on the nose right now.
You gotta have some, whimsy in your life.
All right.
Okay,
Well, I feel a little better
abracadabra.
about this.
Just put the sword
Ta-da,
down.
I guess, as Morwen would say.
I guess I don't know why this, but
The moment's gone.
All right, sorry.
Good
well,
job.
great. Let's go.
as we can tell, seems fair. Seems
No
fine.
maggots.
Cool. No maggots. No.
All right.
No snow cats.
You don't
And I'm kind of
sleep?
I'm just kind of like, fuck yeah.
You traded maggots for sleep. That's a pretty dope deal.
Yeah, I would have to agree. And I got this really cool warm book.
Excuse?
It's
it
warm.
warm?
And I pull it. Oh, it's like on the slight glow, I guess, would have been there.
I
all
touch
night.
And
it.
as you pulls the book out, you can see the
I
snow
just like
as it
unlatch
falls,
it and just kind of like, see?
and the snow actually doesn't hit the pages. The snow actually like moves around it as if there's like this almost repelling force to it.
Yeah, and it's like got these really cool words that move around and stuff, and
As Heinrich holds it
And,
out,
like-
there are no words in this book.
yeah. See, I see them, right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, like the glowing and it's
It's
well,
very nice blank paper.
It's blank.
well, maybe to you. Well, okay. I know what I can see. I have full faith that I am not hallucinating anymore,
Are you
and
sure?
we
But
should
you
be
haven't
on our way.
slept.
Is it going crazy?
Who are you asking, Gunter?
I'm thinking to myself.
Make an insight check.
But Gunter, no, are you?
Oh, you just got incited pretty hard with the 21.
It's alright, I'm not going to try to avoid that.
With the 21, what
Yeah.
can he tell?
You can just feel this air of confidence and, like, I'm not lying about anything so far as you can tell.
The eye contact very steady. Like the pupils not twitching around at all. There's nothing.
I shift
manic
from
about
like
his
one
energy.
to the other and be like, yeah, no, I feel fine. I feel actually great,
Can I
to be
look?
honest.
Okay. I'm gonna get like this close to you and just
I'm just
stare at the
gonna
black eye.
Make an insight check.
I don't even know what I'm looking for. I just
I know. You're,
Just kind of
you're
backing
really
up.
looking in there.
It's like, okay, yes,
insight.
I have something to do.
10. Wait.
No, wait. Okay, so as you're doing this, I cast message into your mind and I just say, boo.
In your mind,
As
you
if-
just hear. You don't see his mouth move, but you just hear, "Boo."
And at that moment, my eyes kind of like boo.
Kind of hard to read.
I'm just feeling
I don't
good.
know
I
if
don't
that
know why.
scares me.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm just feeling a little better than I have lately.
When you
That's
did that, my tail goes like straight up,
Yeah.
and now I'm alert.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
not gonna lie,
Are we done?
feeling actually a little bit more sus about you because you just did that.
That's fine. Did you say anything back? Because you can think things back at me.
But
from,
more. Oh, you're telling her that.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
his.
I guess Morgan wouldn't know that, and I'm not actually saying that. I don't know
kind
that
of-
I.
you know what?
I don't know that she
Yeah,
necessarily
that's
heard
fair.
that either.
That's fair.
I don't know that she heard that. I don't necessarily know yet that I actually cast.
So actually, as a caster,
Would you feel that,
you
like,
would know if it
his
didn't
job?
work? Yeah.
I'm trying to do them all as like a new. Okay, you know what? I would be like, oh, I guess she did hear that.
You
Weird.
feel almost kind of like this ding, as
Yeah.
it like sends, and it is almost like when you have like a real bad like you know when you go in an
It's
airplane
like a pinhole.
when your ears pop.
Yeah.
It's like that, but right at the,
Sure,
the
sure.
center of your head.
That's fine.
While I'm actually this close to his eye,
It's a good observation, Don.
can I?
What was it?
You said that you remind him of his kids when they ate too much sugar. You're in such a good mood.
Oh yeah! Holy shit, dude! I just ate a real cookie, by the way.
And have a sugar.
A real
Oh, we're so
cookie.
good. Also, during the break, you guys gave me cookies. Thank
For
you so
his
much.
birthday.
Yay!
I really like cookies, and
Yeah.
they're really good.
Yeah, they are.
I want to. I don't know. I guess. Can I ask to make a perception check on his on his eye?
no,
Like,
can
can I like what is it? Just a black
So you tell
eye?
me,
Like,
what
can
are
I
you- what are
see
you looking
myself in
for?
his eye?
What are you looking
like,
for?
Is it reflective? Is it
So
even?
yeah,
is there a
looking into
pupil?
looking
I
into
feel
this
like-
eye.
I feel like we're right next to each other now. Just
You're both
really
investigating me.
close,
No, no. I wanted to get
staring
like
at him.
nose to nose.
Yeah, and
I'm
Getting
kind
in
of
there
looking back and
too.
forth now, also being like
Guidance.
over to Shay, like, hey Shay, just
if there's a roll, I don't
You
know,
don't
but
need
that's
to
what I'm
check.
trying to do.
You're asking if
While
there's
they're
a
doing this,
reflection
maybe-
in the eye. As you get close
go
to
take a
Heinrich, you see in the golden eye like a dim kind of reflection, like you would expect to see. In the black eye, crystal clear, almost like looking into a mirror. It's almost like black when you look at it, but like an actual mirrored edge when you look into it.
So I don't see a pupil or anything.
No.
Where did
Do
you
I
see
see-
these tracks?
oh, they were just heading
Is-
west, as if they curved off from our path,
Okay.
slightly to the south of our encampment.
Assuming that usually when you stare at someone, like you shift your gaze like back and forth.
Mhm.
Do I see his eyes moving? Do I see that eye moving?
Yeah, I mean it's an eye. It
Well, it's
looks
just-
I'm just
almost-
picturing like I just want to know like is it an
It's solid
like-
black.
Yeah, solid black.
So if it were to move, you couldn't tell.
Solid black.
So I
but,
can't
but the
tell
thing
if
is
it's
when
moving. Sorry, no, you go ahead.
so the way that you can tell that it's moving when you look straight into it, it's almost like mirror-like in the reflection that you see. Anytime that he shifts, it becomes very dull, and so in that way you can see that he's not looking at you. But as soon as he comes into focus, like it is bright.
You know,
to
like, do you know frosted, like how frosted glass looks?
Yeah.
So like, imagine if there's a frosted glass orb, and then just at the front of it was polished.
Yeah, very much like that.
But all black, so it's even hard to tell it's frosted in
Okay.
some parts and other.
So kind of a pupil.
yeah,
Sure. I'm learning this.
everything
at the
that's
same
not the
time.
pupil is like frosted over, and the pupil is the one part where you can see like very clearly.
Okay, so we're nose to nose here, and I'm
Yeah.
staring at that eye.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna.
No, please don't. It's still an eye.
I do
It
it.
can still feel.
So all of a sudden, there's this moment
I
where
mean, totally.
He
you
pokes
see
the gold
the
one,
cat-
the good one.
the one that you know is a real.
Morwin's cat paw kind of comes forward, and you're just like, no. And then all of a sudden,
There's another one, just
boom, right in your good eye.
Ow.
It hurts.
Just ow. Why?
Oh, it's good.
He's disarmed. While he's disarmed, I poke the black one.
Why are you doing this to me?
But I'm not trying. No, here's the thing though.
Ow.
I'm not trying to cause any harm.
Sure.
Just a little boop.
Yeah,
You know?
feels like an eye.
You guys, stop.
Ew!
It's still me.
And when Morwin pokes you, it really is uncomfortable
'Cause the
because it's like this fur, and it's also
Yeah.
there's this like really rough.
There's
eye.
like hairs in it. Oh, I gotta like do that thing where I look
How can
around
you
until they
tell?
go into the drainage.
I open it.
But I can. They're eyes. They're still
I
eyes.
blow on the black eye.
Stop.
like the snow is falling down around you. It's very cold, and you're stretching the eye out. And but
No,
yeah,
can you not actually be doing this?
It
I don't want
appears
to
to
have to
be
like
a
cast a
dark
spell.
No, I'm done. He's definitely awake, guys.
Of
He's
course
awake.
I'm awake, and of course I haven't slept because I would know that because I haven't been sleeping. I'm just telling you that something was following us and left a trail that may be gone by now, but maybe someone could, Shay could go check it out at least just
Shay
to see.
could go check it out.
Well, she's from here, and we all know that we miss things she doesn't at this point.
In looking for this trail that he says,
sure.
do I see it still, or is there snowfall been too much?
You're looking for the trail.
Yes.
Make a survival check. And the snow. I mean, there's been a lot of snow.
Yes. 22.
With the 22, you can see there are areas now looking where the snow dips in a little bit, and it would be hard to tell that there were tracks there if Heinrich hadn't pointed it out.
Mm-hmm.
The snow has fallen in such a way that you can't tell what made them.
Okay.
But you do see probably at least 2 quadrupedal animals.
Sure.
And you knowing a little bit about
Quadrupedal.
some of the animals that are around here. There are
That's a
auroch,
fun
there are
word.
moose, there are elk. A lot of animals could fit that description.
General size? Like, do I get the sense that they're medium, large?
Large.
Okay.
So again, auroch, moose, elk.
Got it.
Some of the larger wolf species.
Meese.
Perhaps, there are bears. You know what? Actually, point of order,
Bears.
there are not.
You would
Oh.
say, and I would go, curious.
No bears.
There's just bears around Port Quinn. I'd surprised they're not up here. Well, I guess there's nowhere for them to hide and looking around. Or bed down or whatever the hell.
Shay, make a nature check.
Because I'm good at that. That's a 1.
A 1-1.
Yeah, probably.
I'm not sure I've ever seen you roll a fail.
Yeah, well, it's first time for everything.
Wow. Guys,
Ooh.
mark it down. No, I'm just kidding.
I think our hot light just died.
Yeah, I saw it die.
Unless someone turned it off.
Oh my
Anyways.
god, peeing during the night's gonna be real scary.
Continuing
So you guys know
on.
that now.
Moving forward.
So
Yeah.
you
Does it look like a threat? Should we follow them or should we just keep our heading?
Should we stay or
Probably
should we
just
go
the
now?
local fauna.
Okay. Let's go.
say marching order?
I would assume it's the
Probably.
smartest.
Okay. After you do your morning
Wait a
stretches,
second.
go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw too.
Every single day.
In my morning stretches, can I guidance myself? Oh no.
Nah, this
I
is
guess
like
I'd be
right
able to
as you're
do
coming to consciousness. This is being 287 has some penalties.
Oh boy. Well, that's a.
Six? 7? Okay. As you come to consciousness, there is this weird tingling sensation down the left side of your body. And though it is, dark and Heinrich is kind of doesn't see you right as you come to
We
consciousness.
turn the power off.
There is this moment where it's like this kind of very pins and needles sensation, and you feel your whole face kind of like sagging slightly to the side. And as time goes by, it does seem to kind of come into the normal sort of feeling, the normal sensation. But there is this brief moment where you feel like you probably had the beginnings of a stroke. You're failing a lot of these con saves. Gunter's getting pretty old. We're getting into, just so Matt is aware, we're getting into the territory now where a couple more failures and there's going to start to be some actual penalties.
Stop being old.
All right.
Alright.
But you survive the morning. Same marching order. You guys doing anything before you take off?
Extra bacon.
Okay. You pull out some what? You have just in your pack, just some bacon you took.
Some of the bacon.
Okay.
I'm gonna eat a ration
Stored
too,
somewhere.
because
Some hard. I'll just have some very modest hardtack.
Sure. You guys all eat breakfast. Gunter having this rich kind of bacon, and it's a great thing. The rest of you guys sort of just eating the basic traveling rations that you have. With that said, you guys want to do anything before you head off?
I feel like over the night I would have just been like, just thinking about whatever, and I would have had like a click moment. I was like, oh, Gunter, right, now that you're awake, you moved the snow, and when we were out to sea, you moved the water with the boat and everything. I just thought it's something really cool. If we could ever use it, you could maybe help guide a burst from this thing in the future. And I hold out the decanter of endless water. If you ever wanted to like team up tactically, I was thinking it would be cool if you did that and like made a pathway that I could walk up with my boots that I could walk on water.
Around for a reason.
Just tactically thinking about it. We have basically a bridge where I can reach anywhere if we need to, and we don't have shade to just like walk up in the wall.
Well,
What
that's
about me?
Good to know.
You can climb.
oh, that's true.
But yeah, just thinking. Just remember, I have a burst that you could do something with.
All right.
Just
I'm
log
so
it,
pleased that you guys figured that out. That makes me really happy.
Yeah.
I put a lot of thought into the
Yeah,
items
I
did,
had
you guys.
I had some time. I had some time this week where I was just like I have a lot of cool shit. I wonder if I could start actually using it.
All right.
Yeah.
That's as we're walking.
Sure.
I like drop back a sec to be like, yeah.
Shay, as
And
you
then
lead this
wait,
group-
could I have also transitioned into being like, you also don't look too good.
Oh yeah, was this stroke noticeable?
Not to you guys, it's like the immediate as he comes to, but
So you
within
probably-
like a minute or
I'm
two, he's able to
fine.
recover it.
So any
Are you
fatigue
sure?
is probably
Oh yeah.
just
You
from
know.
hangover and walking.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably not hung over, but he's also old. He's been walking. This is the longest that you guys have walked
Could I
in some time.
just like try to see what's wrong with him?
Make a medicine check.
Because I don't believe it. 13.
He's old.
Well, yeah, but if there was the tattoo thing, and then there was that whole time when we were in Cord's temple, and I just want to see if it's anything about that.
Make a religion check.
Okay.
I don't think you've seen that the tattoo's grown though. Only I.
You
have.
said that it was. You told him.
I
that it
told
occurred.
her.
Yeah, and they're visible around the. I guess
Somebody
we're
told
wearing
you.
a
I
lot
do
of
remember.
stuff.
So
Yeah.
you have.
I
heard
have this
Oh, it was
knowledge.
Shay that told you actually.
Yes, right. I have
Wow,
the
really
knowledge.
passing around the secrets,
Well,
huh?
That's a 3 for religion.
Okay. Yeah, as far as you can tell, it's kind of hard.
Fine.
because
This whole
Gunter-
religion thing's new to me, anyways. So.
Sure. You don't notice any special differences associated with Gunter's iconography
Sure.
upon his body.
Okay.
But as you walk,
Well, if anything, if you start feeling a little,
Oh, shush.
let me know. Let me know.
I'm fine.
Okay.
make a
If you say
survival
so.
check as you are leading this group.
Can I somehow help
How do you want to help?
looking?
I guess
don't know.
not. I mean, if you can tell me how.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
I'm gonna
as-
be like, it's okay.
there really isn't much that I would honestly, without knowledge of the area,
Why
other
don't you
than
just
like,
look too?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. By
Oh.
looking, I would be also keeping an
Just
eye.
also
out.
look.
So you're helping by
I think
looking
is
out
what
as
you're
well.
saying.
Yeah.
So you can roll an advantage, or you guys can each roll. Up to you guys.
Yeah, I mean,
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna throw a little guidance in there. Be like, you got this.
well, because he guided
Go for
me,
it.
I guess I'll just roll as well.
And we poked his
16.
eyes.
Yeah.
He needs some help.
yeah.
Yeah, actually,
Flat roll.
canonically,
No.
can we say guidance from
Guidance.
when
Oh,
I
yeah.
poked him in the eye?
Sure.
I'd like to point out, despite the fact that you guys poked in the eye, I'm still like, I shrugged that off. I'm like, yeah,
Well,
okay, I'm weird, I get it.
Point of
Yeah,
reference:
it's
Gunter, when he poked you in the cast guidance also.
Oh, okay.
So probably it didn't feel.
So
that
that's a
bad.
natural 20
Great.
plus 1 for survival and 3 from guidance, so 24. If the total is more important to you.
As you guys look out, so you travel for about an hour, 2 hours, and you're noticing now the landscape definitely shifting. It's been some time since you've seen a tree. There is like a gentle rise and fall that you guys gradually become fairly accustomed to. You realize, Heinrich, that this would be a very easy place to get lost. And looking out now into the snow, it is just white into white air onto white sky.
Right.
And thinking about elements of this, you actually very wisely begin to watch kind of behind as well,
Mhm.
and using your footprints sort of
Keep
make
as
sure that you're
straight
not
heading as
yeah, you're
possible.
not doubling back. You manage to not get lost, which is actually in this particular region in this weather a fairly big accomplishment. However, with a 24?
Four.
With a 24, you're beginning to notice that beyond just the gentle rise and fall, there are other smaller areas that have been recently covered with snow, footprints. And you're starting to see more and more of them. And at first, they sort of seem to wander here and there. But as you progress on, another half an hour goes by, they're fresher, and there's more of them.
Do you see any shapes, movement, colors other than white and us?
At this moment, no.
Are you
Point
heading
that
the
out.
way?
No, but I like walked up to catch up with you and help. You see that, right?
Yeah.
Looks like we might be heading towards something. Should we maybe have our wits about us a little more? Kind of cluster in a little bit.
Probably not a bad idea.
But what are you asking? For us to get a little snuggly?
We'll just be ready for whatever may be there. And I kind of like.
Right.
That's all. I don't have any preparing of things to do other than just continuing on.
I will say, as you start to continue on now and being aware of this and really starting to focus in as you walk, you're beginning to see patterns in the movement. At first, you sort of mistook this for wandering, but you're realizing it's different sets of tracks that sort of will go out and then converge. Probably not super familiar with why this is happening, but you're starting to realize this seems to be individuals perhaps almost guarding a more central group that is going forward. You're seeing like a now increasingly evident divot that goes through, and it's no longer just like a hill. This is an area where a large group of something has moved through. And you're seeing now these tracks going off and on. These are maybe scouts.
And this is also like footprint kind of things too. Is there any like wheel tracks?
They're tracks, not footprints, but you...
Well, yeah, I don't mean like feet necessarily, but is it consistent like a pulling of is like anything being dragged or rolled? I guess is kind of...
I will say with a 24, you think about that, and you would imagine to find out, even within the snow, it would probably make a mark in the mud. If you dug down a little bit, you could find out.
Okay.
And digging down, moving some of the snow aside, you could see in the frozen mud, there are...
I just evaporated with a fire.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Create bonfire, and
Yeah.
the snow just
It's just like...
becomes water, slowly melting in the area. And you can see now in the mud actually beginning to lose shape, but you do see it as the snow melts. So probably a little bit older than these tracks, but what looks like wagon wheels.
Okay.
Fairly light. They're not deep into the mud.
People, not cargo.
Maybe.
Okay.
If it's cargo, it's not heavy cargo.
Right.
This appears to be heading in the direction that you guys are traveling, this cart.
Mhm.
These tracks, a little bit more chaotic, but they seem, based on like the timing of it and the different levels of snow, you're thinking probably these footprints followed maybe a couple hours behind whatever made the cart tracks.
Okay. Well,
Someone
I
was
relay that.
following them.
yeah, like that aunt.
Guys, it wasn't actually her family.
Well, yeah. You didn't know her.
Who's
I was just
that?
trying to get you guys out of there
What on?
so we could get going. From the bar.
Nothing. No, nothing.
Oh, we didn't steal from her.
No, we didn't, but that's okay.
Heinrich.
It's more that if she was
I
talking
really-
about someone coming by, or
Aside
maybe...
tomorrow, I'm like, I really wanted to scare him.
Well, maybe this has
maybe on the
something to
way
do
back.
with that. That's all I'm saying. Maybe this has something
I'm
to
just
do with
gonna.
that.
Okay, then I'm gonna
Probably
say
not.
back to you. Maybe on the way back, but don't involve them. They're just gonna bring us down. You don't want to talk to. Told them when you were friggin' drunk.
Well, anyways, they're heading the same way we are. Why don't we just keep going? But just be wary. It looks like there's someone ahead of us.
I mean, I still have my weapons drawn.
Okay.
Not out in front, but they're out.
Okay. So you guys are just going to continue to follow these tracks?
Yeah, making sure to keep an eye out to stop if we get a line of sight on them, so
Okay.
that we're not like just walking into anything stupid like an ambush. That is
Absolutely.
absolutely what I am wary of and paying attention to.
So you guys push onwards. The snow lightening up a little bit, and you can see, based on the now slightly lighter sky, probably drawing closer to noon, But pushing on, I need two of you guys to make a perception check, because I imagine you guys are both looking now.
I won't be able to help.
Oh, you got this.
No, I got one.
You gotta.
2 ones.
Nice.
You
Just
gotta
need more
look harder.
space.
21?
I rolled
23.
this into my eye.
You, your eye is still kind of bothering you from this morning when
Yeah,
Gunter and
it's
Morwen
still
both
dry.
poked you.
like,
So, it's hard keeping them open.
More winning.
Gunter is actually not older than Dirt. We actually just discussed over the break, Gunter is no longer the oldest character that has appeared on Adventures in Alberon after this episode.
Yeah, it's that woman who made the spoons.
Anyhow.
Oh, no, I was older than old Grant.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh.
By like 40 years. But either way, neither here nor there.
Just back in program.
You guys, right around noon, and it is getting a little bit brighter, I would say, Shay, you catch a little bit of movement ahead of you. And it seems to kind of disappear into the snow. And then you notice, like, off to your right, maybe 300 feet away, right at the edges of what you could possibly see, even with your eyesight, another shape, maybe two,
Small, medium, large.
larger than you,
Great.
but probably still
That's not
mechanically
hard. That's
speaking,
good.
medium.
Okay.
Yeah, you're like 5'2", 5'1", 5'3",
5'4".
5'4".
Oh.
So let me-
5'5",
I'm
5'6",
taller than
5'7".
you.
Anyhow,
Shorter.
what do you want to do with that information?
You stopped.
We stop. Stop.
I'm just saying you stopped. Did you see something?
Yes. There's movement. To the front. To the right.
I look out too. Probably don't see it.
You don't see anything, but I would say with Shay saying that, and with your roll of 23, you do now listening hear. At first, you mistake it for the sound of the wind, and then this long, high-pitched sort of howl, perhaps over the snow. Hard to tell exactly.
Either way, to sit still is to be dead
Right.
in the snow.
Do we need to move away from them, or should we? Did you heard that howl? Does that sound familiar? Does it sound familiar to me?
Both of you make a nature check.
Alright.
I mean, do all of us here?
All of yeah.
Nice. Oh.
No.
Okay.
Even with
The
your
two of them
cat
are really
ears?
looking around for it.
I don't
Even
really
with cat
have-
ears, it's not like a
I don't have like
mechanical
keen
advantage,
senses. Yeah.
16.
15 and 16. I'll say, Heinrich, you're not really sure. And I would say even Shay, you're not really sure, but you do remember you are currently passing through a place called the Knoll Hills.
I would mutter under my breath.
Mhm.
No hills.
More
Fucking
hills?
hate these things. Knoll. There's Knoll. Do we want to bother trying to track a little further out of the way? And just like maybe not.
What's gonna do?
Why bother?
Oh, in the winter.
Why do we? Do we want to bother walking right into a fight, or do we want to just avoid it? Is what I'm asking.
I mean,
I'm leaving it up to you guys. I'll be here to help out, whichever one we do.
I don't start them, but I'll finish them.
I was trying to whack a few moles.
No,
suggest
they're like really stinky, nasty.
we attempt
I
to
mean,
move in a way that doesn't provoke their attention.
Okay, I am of the same mind.
I got it. Yeah.
What, whack-a-mole?
Yeah.
And knolls. I got it.
Yeah.
I am.
I'm-
Oh, you got the
Deciding
mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To ignore.
I didn't want to encourage it because I just felt like that would be a point against me as well. So.
Anyhow,
Moving on.
what do you guys want to do?
I would say avoid. I mean, especially if you're leading, might as well just lead around, even if they didn't pick up on it. You know, it's not like they would know that we're avoiding something other than I just told them. Never mind.
Keep moving in the same general direction, but attempt to kind of skirt
Okay.
a little bit further.
So this is going to be a group skills challenge. I want everybody to roll stealth checks. Unless you want to continue moving at like a normal pace, in which case you could.
Well,
But it sounds like you guys are trying to sneak a little bit.
and there's no advantage from a cover of
Oh.
this thing,
Of what?
of this storm.
There might be.
Okay. Well, no.
I'm gonna-
I guess we
Mechanically
literally.
not being granted
Okay.
advantage now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cast
I can
This
use
song.
Because
stealth
I've been,
normal pace.
I have to admit, I've been.
Cool.
I have to admit, I've been
Give me a second
playing
for
this
that.
wrong because I have medium armor on.
Okay.
So I just have disadvantage on all stealth checks.
Whoa, it's so
I'm coming-
chilly.
As my character evolves, so have I. I am being more honest.
And as okay.
So
And then I think also this.
not bad. I rolled a 20 and a
Um,
15, so that is
three of
18.
them.
it's a very respectable roll
For
Dude,
disadvantage? Hell
for
yeah.
disadvantage with medium armor.
Yeah, level
Eight.
3.
Got an
Okay.
18. I got an 18 with
Have
disadvantage.
you always had
so-
medium
No,
armor?
level 1.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Oh.
Describe how you're going to do it in a second.
Good to know
Yeah,
now.
I just forgot about that for a long time that it gives disadvantage on stealth.
Yeah.
Woodrow,
18.
18,
28.
28,
22.
22. Stealth check.
Oh.
I need somewhere to sleep.
Okay. Luckily, the way that group skills challenges work, for those of you who have not read through the rules in D&D, a group skills challenge is a way that you can have a group of people do something where the members who are good at something help those who are not.
Yeah.
So the way that it works, you have a certain number of successes that you need, a certain number of failures. There were enough successes in this case to make up for the fact that Gunter is like stumbling through. And now, very interesting point of fact: as you guys are walking, Gunter is consistently walking ahead of all of you. And as you like quietly creep through,
How long have we?
Well,
how long has he
I-
been doing this for?
Can also walk at a normal pace and still use
And-
stealth.
and Gunter is walking.
Still-
Mic
Gunter
drop.
is walking at a normal pace as well. Gunter's keeping up with you.
Wonderful.
As you walk through, you notice like the snow seems to almost be parting around him as he moves. His movement seems very free. Are
Must
you
be
doing
fucking nice.
anything else?
Yeah, then I'm gonna do this.
How
one.
are you doing it?
I'm gonna be like, like bundle up a little bit.
Okay.
Like, all right, stick close.
Make a sleight of hand check.
That's 12.
Okay. You all see Gunter kind of go, oh, gather close, and you see him cast a spell, which seems to shift and spread the snow, moving out of the way of this invisible line of force that touches all of you.
Oh,
You are all now, for the next 8 hours, under the influence of the spell Aid.
nice. Thanks. I'm like, oh, that was a
Cool.
nice gesture there, guy.
It's chilly up here.
Gunter still doesn't know that you know that he cast the spell, nor is it evident that Gunter actually knows that he cast the spell.
Okay.
However, you guys move through fairly
It's like an
quietly.
old man farting and not realizing it.
Yeah, kind of. That's basically Gunter's magic in a nutshell.
His magic is a loose asshole.
I'm pretty sure Gunter, I think canonically speaking, Gunter thinks that he can only cast like 3 or 4 spells. The rest is like all stuff. that
Right,
just
when he
happens.
guiding bolted Morwen for 18 damage.
Right?
But, anyways, you
Let's
guys,
not bring that up right now.
you guys progress through the snow
Getting along.
Control the power of it better though.
fairly quietly. There are moments though where, as you progress, you are starting to notice that there are these shapes in the snow. You get another half an hour in, going quietly, and you keep these footprints on your right, in range that you can see them, but just far enough away where you feel like any creature without real good eyesight is going to have trouble seeing you. There's a moment where, as you're going, you're still leading the way.
Yep.
You see, almost like blindly, you stumble over the edge of not a cliff, but like a kind of abrupt stop to the hill.
Sure.
There are these stones almost completely covered with snow. You can see blackness on that, probably ash at some point. And huddled around this dead fire, there is, kind of shivering slightly, this knoll. You can see planted in the snow, little bits kind of covering the top, like a pretty jaggedly broken looking halberd that at some point had been snapped in half and then refixed very, very crudely. But you can see shivering slightly and just kind of and just seems to kind of start to look around. What are you guys doing?
Could we scare it off?
What's the? Is it like below us or is it?
You can see now it kind of like puts its hand down on the ground and rises up to its feet. And as it rises up, this thing probably about 7 feet tall, standing up. Burly, like muscular. You can see the fur itself coated in snow, but underneath bits of grime and dirt that have caked in and become almost like dreaded in places. There are just bits of leather and metal armor, patchwork, definitely put together over a period of years. Parts have been broken and repaired. You can see definitely like shoe marks in areas from other gnolls that are probably a lot of infighting within the gnolls. But as it sniffs around, it seems to have the smell of something.
Gnolls are
How
like
far away is
wolf-like
it?
creatures, right?
How far away?
What?
Gnolls are like wolf-like creatures, right?
They look like hyenas.
Okay.
Well, I don't know about in this world, but in the book at least.
I just want to submerge myself
Yeah.
and have an image here.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can give you an image. Just give me one moment.
How
Thank
far
Are
down,
we up?
feet-wise,
Probably about 15, 16 feet.
away from it?
Yeah, you guys are right on top of it at this moment.
To just, I mean, I'm just gonna do something.
So actually, I can give you a little visual. I thought about drawing this up, but I didn't because it's mostly snow.
Right. So,
And so
when
I
you
was
draw
sitting
in,
there-
like,
Draw.
I was sitting there with
Yeah.
a piece of paper and I was like,
I mean, you could just draw like height markers. And that's about it.
I thought about doing that, but
Yeah.
I figured this would actually be a lot easier. So
Oh, okay.
there's this kind of large hill that kind of drops off a little bit here. You have Shay
You're
on the edge. You have Heinrich kind of on the side back here. Gunter, who's kept pace, and then Marlin kind of in the back.
I'm gonna make a gesture of like get back,
Really, yeah.
just like get back
Back
to
up a
everyone,
little bit.
Okay.
and then I just
I follow that
I
lead.
relight the bonfire in like a way. I'm attempting to distract it, draw its attention there, so that maybe we can like
Where are you lighting the bonfire?
where the old fire was.
Okay.
I'm like
So-
relighting it, so it's like to scare him into like a oh shit, it just started up again kind of thing.
So I didn't actually draw, but you can see just the elements of a fire right here.
Hmm.
So all of a sudden,
Like right in front of it, basically.
as he is like going and he's picking up this this pole arm of some kind, using it to prop himself up a little bit and turning. There's a moment where Shay, you actually see just the corner of the eye as it like begins to turn around, and you notice movement from your side. Heinrich's hand just kind of gesturing, and all of a sudden in front there is this whoosh of fire that actually disrupts the snow, swirling it around the actual flame. The knoll suddenly just kind of and stabs at the fire, like stabbing into the ground. It's magical fire, correct?
It can light. I think.
can light?
Yeah.
So,
a bonfire in the ground. It's fire damage,
he
all intents and purposes.
Pulls this pole arm away, now slightly like charred and little bits of like embers kind of coming down the very dried wood.
Yeah.
But you can hear now he sort of like looks around a little bit wildly. I'm
I'm gonna say that we would have backed up too. That was like half the point. Is
Okay,
to
so
get
you
people
kinda
like
take
out of
some-
line of sight,
some-
out
yeah,
of the
steps
the
up.
ledge.
Backed up a little bit and like crouched down.
Yeah.
You can hear it kind of like lets out this just kind of like loud howl,
Uh-huh.
and it carries into this snowy air. You can hear it like echo a little bit across this empty plain. You would imagine it's something of an alarm.
Sure. Sure.
And this thing is now like circling
No,
the
it's good.
fire.
They're all gonna come here
Every
and
now and then,
around,
kind of
or
like
we're just
poking
attacking
at
at
it,
once.
very unsure about what to do. What are you guys
Yeah.
doing? I would say, Shay, at this point, you can see there are like other shapes now
What
beginning to
direction
approach.
are they coming from?
If they make their way towards there, I say we double back and go around.
Yeah.
You're seeing a large number of shapes come from this area.
Okay.
You see one, you see two, you see enough shadows now converging where it's hard to make out numbers. Off to the left, kind of near where that skull is, you can see like one or two shapes kind of coming into focus. You remember these tracks winding around. This is a very spread out group.
Yeah.
You can estimate maybe 7 or 8 individuals at this point, but it's hard to tell.
How spread out are they?
They're just coming in.
I feel like it's probably best to kind of veer that way.
I'm just gonna do this to get us through this too.
You're seeing.
Maybe.
'Cause they're all.
Because with the bulk of them coming this way, that means what's where the bulk of the
Right.
whatever.
So if we
their
like,
caravan
if we
is.
cut around, head
So if we
south,
cut around
and
and
then
go kind of buck out.
It's
that's kind of
worth
what I was
noting,
thinking.
There are a couple that are carrying torches, and so it is illuminating elements of them. This larger group right here, as they sweep in, from the torches, you do make out. Oh, you also make out this one little dog-like creature that's also coming around. We'll get there in a second.
Yeah.
It doesn't have 2 heads. It's a hyena, but I don't
Oh,
have
okay.
hyena many because they're actually really hard to get. So you notice as this torch comes out, there are like faintest hints, this glint of like wood. And focusing in on it, you can see turned over on its side, there is a cart.
So-
I did go because it's super easy.
They got caught in the blizzard.
And then got ambushed.
Even if they didn't get
Snail?
ambushed, they got caught in the blizzard.
You want me to?
Perfect. Thank you.
Ah,
And for just a moment, as you see this, you can see in front of it, nearest you, a little offset to the left, is a glass bottle with this strange green, almost like a firefly if it didn't blink. And it seems to just be drifting within, and then the snow sweeps back over as the gnolls approach, the fire moving out of line of sight from the wagon, and that disappears into the blizzard. But the gnolls are now like approaching at a run, and you can hear howls coming from different areas. There are some coming from behind you. There are some coming. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But at this point, there is 7 or 8 or 12 or 14. There are at least a couple of dozen gnolls.
yeah.
I'm
Sure.
gonna ready this up for if anyone
We need
gets
to
So
move.
again,
Should I
remember,
throw
are
my
you
voice?
readying this?
I think
The
we should.
other
run.
way
If you
that we're
ready
running.
it uses the is this a cantrip?
Can't hurt.
If you ready it, then it uses the spell slot even if you don't use it. And
Oh,
it
then I'm not gonna ready it.
Okay.
yeah.
I'm gonna.
I'm on guard.
Now that we've gotten stock of how many and everything, I feel like. What's the distance on it? Hold on. No, that's not far enough. Never mind. I'm not gonna do it.
Okay.
What
What are you guys doing?
Like
We need to move.
sneaking it out and around
Okay.
south, making a huge wide berth.
Make a stealth check, all of you guys.
Does aid give us anything for this?
You get +5 to your max hit points.
Oh,
So it
Oh,
does
that's
fail.
something.
does if you fail.
That's the worst stealth I've ever
Natural
rolled.
20.
Wow. Okay.
Good job,
Oof.
Gunter.
Wow, you've even beat me with a
I
+11.
just like dive into the snow.
You guys see Gunter's one hair just surfing through the snow. Like
No, we just see the beard.
yeah.
Just no pile.
All right. So I got,
It's like a little pile of
Okay, so-
snow.
We see his one tooth.
20.
20.
20?
Just 20?
Just
8.
20.
8.
Oh wait,
17.
disadvantage. Sorry.
My
Oh,
stealth is
Well, I would have gotten a higher one, so 8.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was your 17?
yeah.
Okay.
No stealth.
19.
19. Gunter
Wow, I'm
into the snow.
second worst.
And just kind of like
Still got it.
for the most part, Gunter's
Third
just kind of
worst.
like laying on his belly and
Gunter,
sliding
I
down
appreciate
under the drift.
Mhm.
No, I'm saying
This is
second.
still
Well, to him,
technically-
this is the
Yeah,
worst.
you literally are laying down and just like
Third best,
slip
third
and
best.
sliding down the hill.
Wait, which
That's
way
a
is it?
much
Oh, like
positive-
this
more
way.
positive.
Gunter, so he cast freedom of movement on himself, so he just slid underneath the snow and just slid down.
Just kinda-
The two of you crouch down, you in your natural element of the snow. You just being a naturally stealthy individual, like very, very naturally, like just sneak down and start backing out. And you kind of like your antlers are up from the snow. You're a
Well,
little
yeah,
bit
I
more
mean-
apparent. In
I'm just trying to move, not to like. I mean, I'm trying to stay
you
still,
have
but
this
I'm just moving.
glowing book. You have
Oh,
like
it's
a
not
lit
that
candle.
bright.
It's a lot of bright stuff.
Yeah, it's also
more when you
light out
seeing
in the
this.
snow.
More when you seeing this, you kind of like get a little bit in front of the book, and Shay, you sort of cover up, making up for this. You don't see Gunter. None of you see Gunter. Shay, even you, Gunter is gone.
Gunter's gone.
And for like the
But
first
I'm
time,
not worried about it. I'm just
No.
like, he's being sus somewhere.
for the first time in like almost half of a year, no, not quite, in almost a third of a year that you guys have adventured together, you don't hear Gunter.
Oh, weird.
It's
Whatever.
I kind of relish the moment.
Yep.
save for this discordant howls of gnolls. You can definitely hear it. It's also
Yeah.
worth noting at this point. Oops,
Gunter's just going.
messed it up. One moment.
It's just matching the,
The
sound of
wind.
The wind.
At this moment, you also do hear the very beginnings of perhaps some kind of drums. So
Jeez.
Oh my God.
you slink back and down into the south. You can now see, even as you are going, there's a moment where you suddenly hear footfalls and you guys go quiet and very still. Heinrich, you're kind of like, what? And then you actually have to like pull him down by the antlers.
Ow.
But you see all of a sudden,
Don't touch those.
not 10 feet away from you, this gnoll kind of just appear in sight, smelling, just and just takes off and goes right by you guys. You continue to go past. You hear to the left and the right every now and then just like footsteps and things moving. There are a lot of these creatures.
Yeah.
And you're hearing even as you travel away, these drums grow a little bit louder, and you're beginning to imagine. And being from Port Quinn, you've heard of these gnolls coming from the Gnoll Hills and stuff. In your lifetime, there's never been an actual Gnoll war host, but there are tales of them.
Yeah.
Can I also just like take a mental count of the ones passing us and the different howls that I hear? I just want to take a mental note.
Make an intelligence check.
I'm stupid though.
No.
11.
Yeah.
That is slightly above average intelligence.
Well, I can at least count the ones that are passing us.
Sure. As you're going by the first 5 minutes, there is the one that comes within 10 feet of you guys. This appears, and you hear another one and another, about 7 or 8 go by you from the direction.
On top of
That's let alone the ones
Oh, yeah.
that were. Okay.
You're beginning to get the sense that there is at least 50 of them.
That's a venerable army. A veritable.
But another 5 minutes pass. You guys continue. You can see now, as you're progressing, areas where like the tracks are fresh and have passed where you guys are going now. Inadvertently, you have sort of cleared an area for yourselves to move. You progress onwards a little bit away. Anything special you guys want to do as you are moving away from the situation?
Aside from keeping an ear out and eyes out for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Keep
Now that we
moving.
know what type of territory we're in, I'm sure we're all fucking on edge.
So you guys continue for another 20 minutes. The drums now fading into the distance. Every now and then you still hear an especially loud sort of gibbering howl. But that too fades into this ever-present wind and snow. And you feel as if perhaps you've passed this particular danger for the time being.
Go us.
You guys have really managed to avoid a lot of fights this episode.
We're really doing a disservice to our name.
Well, 50,
It's okay.
50 things is a lot
Yeah.
of things.
Yeah, it's a lot of things.
It's a
You
lot
said
of
something
things.
about a war. Does this have anything to do with that?
Not in context of what I was given, no. But
Oh, it looks like
it's-
a war on all fronts then.
I'm not surprised.
Where do these come from, anyways? Do you know any tales?
Would I know anything in particular other than the fact that they live
Make a history check. I'll say make a history or nature check, your choice, and they'll get different things.
Would Gunter
Doesn't
know about
matter.
those?
Make a history check, not a nature check. Make a history check.
I mean, it would be me too, obviously. We're all trying to figure this
Go
out.
for it.
I'll do nature
No,
then.
2.
16.
Gnolls exist.
Yeah, I mean, I've now seen them.
Gnolls are pretty tall.
And stinky.
16?
16.
From what you know, gnolls typically don't form warbands because they don't get along super well. They're not terribly organized creatures. In fact, it is actually, as far as you know, unclear as to where they came from. They're not native to the material plane of Alberon. They seem to sometimes appear in great numbers. Hyenas tend to follow them. Outside of that, you don't know too much about them. But yes, this is it's uncommon for there to be this many in an area. Any more than 20 is pretty unheard of.
I relay all of this.
Okay.
Well, that's not a good sign.
No. There
Then
aren't any
we-
good signs these days. We need to
This
hurry.
is true. Yeah. I mean, if us hurrying can prevent more stuff like this, then yeah,
Where do
absolutely.
you think they're going?
If they're moving the same direction that we are, I mean, eventually they'll hit the Lorebinders Academy.
Mm.
Well, let's at least make it there before they do and warn everyone.
With any luck.
So we continue on
There you go.
in the same manner as we have been.
Need survival checks from the two of you as you continue forward. Now getting past like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's starting to get a little darker now.
19.
Okay.
See, Evan?
Okay.
Survival, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
I mean, after that whole thing, I'm
Yeah,
not
you're-
surprised I can't follow the
you're a
no
little-
longer straight tracks behind me.
and you're a little on edge, and so constantly your attention shifting back and forth. You feel especially vigilant. And so you are kind of constantly scanning the horizon, paying less attention to where you're going and more to make sure that you're not being followed.
Mhm.
Shay, you keeping your eyes forward. The hills are gradually now kind of getting a little bit larger. You are deep within the actual knoll hills themselves. You're now starting to pass areas where the hills are large enough that they have like indented areas that, not caves, but sort of almost grooves where there is like just ground, just dirt and stone, elements of root from the grass that in the spring would be sort of like tall grass, maybe about a foot tall. There are like little bits of roots coming out of the bottom. So easier to find shelter here. It gets to about 4 or 5 o'clock and it's really starting to get dark. So you guys need to decide, going to push on through the night, or what do you want to do?
Well, I say push on through the night, but that's just me. How are you guys feeling?
I mean, I'm also inclined to press on through the evening. However, it is going to require some light for me.
hungry and I'm pretty.
Of
And
course,
that's
but
going
that
to-
brings us
I
a
just
disadvantage.
attention.
I don't know
Exactly.
actually.
So
how
either
close
How long is
we
it?
Sorry.
continue on and you lose my eyesight,
How long is it?
Or
or
we use the light, or we stop.
Since we saw the knolls.
At this point, it's been about 3 hours.
Okay.
You haven't heard any of these kind of laughter howls for a
Still
while.
make it for a bit.
How far are we from our destination?
Shay would tell you.
Yeah,
It's
I like went.
you guys are probably about a day out, a little bit less.
From where we are currently, and we have been traveling for the better part of a whole day almost.
You've traveled
Better
now
part
at this
of, like,
point for like a day and a
day and
half.
a half.
Right, but I guess as of today, we've traveled like
Correct.
crazy. Let's go until we get too tired and need to pause for rest. I mean, it seems dangerous to exhaust ourselves with a potential huge threat at our heels. But it seems even more dangerous to spend time out here. I'm torn, but
I feel like we should go until we at least can't hear the music anymore.
I mean, we haven't heard anything for a while.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I misunderstood.
No worries.
Sorry. Also in the chat, we're talking about them having a knoll rave. And
Uh-huh.
they're playing Sandstorm. So I'm in a totally
it's called
different.
Snowstorm.
I'm in a totally different world right now.
I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you right now that instead of Sandstorm, it's Snowstorm, and all of the
Yeah.
MIDI instruments are all like that, like ice clinking noises, like like Mario
No,
ice
they're-
levels.
It's
MIDI
a
and-
xylophone, but it's icicles.
Thank you, Chad.
Chat.
Chat.
Who do we have to thank for this?
Okay, so
Thanks.
Put them on the board and give them marks.
That's what we really need, is like a whiteboard in the back where we can
Oh,
just
yeah.
give everybody
Just
like
tally,
pun penalties.
right?
No, you know what we need to do better?
penalties, though. No.
Hold on, we need-
kudos.
We need a screen behind your head with a picture of your disapproving face, like drawn. And anytime anyone does something, you have a giant button that you just go, and like a big cut just comes down.
Fine. If you're gonna do that, then there needs to be the same of me being like,
Yeah, and then that's for good puns.
Yeah.
And then you wink every once in a while.
So
This is
Anywho.
future plans.
Anywho.
if anybody wants to draw that,
Yeah, we'll work on it.
so we
So
don't
we should
wear
push
the
on
music
until
anymore.
we
do not
can't.
hear the drum.
Are we doing this with
Okay.
light? Are we doing this in the dark?
Safer in the dark. I'm sorry. I'll guide you. I'll help. I'll help you.
Cycle to the back.
Okay.
And
Stick with Morwen. That seems to have worked in the past with the.
Shall we dance? No, I'm just kidding. We've already done that. We'll tango some other time.
Oh yeah, that's right. All right. So I guess I'll front it. If Gunter wouldn't mind helping me, you seem pretty adept in this environment. All of a sudden,
What?
would you like to help me up front? We need to make way, and Shay's losing sight at this time of day.
What are we doing?
We're just heading to. We're going to Lordvine Academy.
Oh!
Remember?
Isn't that where Banal was from? That guy sucked.
Is that where you're from?
You would remember that Bernal said he had passed through
Passed
there
through
on
there,
his
yeah.
way to Brooklyn.
Right. No, he passed through there. He's not from there.
Oh.
They may know him, and we can maybe even learn more about him and why he did what he did and all of this. But
Why he sucked?
whatever the yeah, sure. Maybe they're all not so sucky.
Maybe they'll pay me for some of these lenses.
Perfect. You know what? They just might, and that should be inspiration enough to help me get there, to help all of us get there.
How far out are we?
About a day's travel.
hiking up my sarong. All right, let's go.
All right. So Gunter and I take point
You guys take point.
so that you can aid me if you need to.
It gets darker, and the snow now letting up a little bit, and so you're finally getting to a point where softly falling like flakes and no longer like sheets of just like pelting snow. You travel for an hour and then 2. Go ahead and make survival checks.
Yup. Can I get some of that?
Oh, yeah.
Get some of that.
Oh, you're looking pretty chilly over
Yeah,
there.
thanks. It's pretty cold. Hey, that helps by 1. That's a 20, dirty 20.
Okay.
Thank
What
you.
was mine? Oh, mine's an 18. All right.
Aren't you using your
Gunter, you're walking around, and
These are for
Heinrich, you're
Heinrich.
kind of
Those are
next to
for
it.
when I
Okay.
The 2 of you following. You looking at the ground, kind of again scanning for tracks, anything that could be possibly dangerous. You're feeling pretty confident. And you're kind of striding ahead, and there's a moment where Gunter, as he's about to take a step, you see the snow, its texture shift ever so slightly.
It moves.
No,
Oh,
the texture's different,
okay.
and so you kind of stop Gunter, and
It looks like ice.
sort of.
Not quite.
What do you want to do?
Not
It
enough.
seems to stretch out maybe.
Well, with the roll, could I tell what it is? Looking closer at it, being like, why is this shifting? Why is it changing?
You notice, looking at it, it is this very thin layer that probably, if weight were put on it, would collapse.
Okay,
Seems like a very deep drift.
got it. Okay, hold on. Whoa, whoa,
It's
whoa.
about 10 feet wide, and it seems to go about 30 feet out.
Okay.
So,
Let's go around it.
sure, no problem. You go around it. As you do,
Natural trap averted.
as you do, your footfalls seem to cause some of the snow to cascade in, and you can see this is just a deep natural crevice in the ice. It goes down into darkness, even with your dark vision, indicating it's deeper than 60 feet.
Oh shit.
You definitely saved Gunter a fall.
Oh god.
And for
Another one
Gunter,
like
that
the-
fall, that was...
Like the Harpy Canyon shit.
That's like an Aluktai fall.
Oh god.
So, Gunter, you are stopped right short of falling. And with that, you make your way around this frozen gully. It's worth noting for the 2 of you, especially for Shay, you see none of this. All you just hear in the darkness is boop, boop, boop. Ah. That's all you get. But you guys
You have to
skirt
have the
around this
second,
natural habitat.
Gunter, I don't like how you're coming on to me now.
What?
That was a very flirty. I'm just kidding. Let's go. Let's go this way.
Wow.
I'm making light of a situation that almost cost
What are you
you
trying to say?
nothing. Let's go.
You make
Wait,
your
what are
way.
you guys talking about? No, I'm just
Well,
kidding. No.
Watch
we
out
won't
for-
indulge this. We won't
I know
indulge
that
this.
you
I
had
point
a
out
bad
to them.
date, but you know, I'm not gonna be. A
I point
fallback.
out. I point out to them the chasm thing, and I'm not swinging around it.
You guys skirt around this chasm. You progress forward another hour, another 2. As you wind into the deeper part of the night, you're beginning to feel, not you, but the rest of you, are beginning to feel this fatigue set in. However, off in the distance, you guys have pushed on far enough where you're beginning to see through the very, very soft bits of snow that are still falling. You're actually now seeing pinpoints of stars, still mostly gray, but every now and then just a clearing. And as the clouds pass and one of those clearings comes up near the horizon, you see this dim yellow orb glowing. Shay, have you been to the Warbinder Academy, remind me?
What?
Okay. So you would know above
Years
it,
ago, but yes.
in the highest peak, where the most restricted area of this massive library is, there's this huge glowing, sort of plus-sized drift globe that casts this dull yellow light across the entirety of the campus of the Lorebinder Academy. And that is what you were seeing. Probably no more than a half an hour away.
Oh. Is it a safe place? Should we
Yeah, I was about to
rest?
say.
Should we rest before we approach?
It's safe enough. Can't say in recent times, but it's been many years since I've been there.
Will we be welcomed there?
I would say that Shay knows about the Lorebinders, probably not a ton.
Yeah.
But you do know this is a pretty open place of learning, very purposefully placed outside of the kingdom of Sarentil, despite the fact that the founders, nearly 500 years ago, come from Sarentil and technically still claim fealty to the kingdom. It is located outside of any political sphere. Very, very purposefully put near Gulliver's Bay for that reason. They typically welcome anybody in search of knowledge. This library allows you access to a certain amount of information based on how much information you have provided. So the more you donate, the deeper into this library you can delve. There are definitely secretive parts, and there are many organizations that send people here because it is the largest repository of knowledge on the continent. Even more so than the Zinyi Monastery's collection, which is pretty impressive.
Well, it seems like the place to go with all this new information about the world ending.
But that being said, it is not a place. I mean, there are dangerous people there. They work for the Lorebinders. They are called Lorebinders, and they defend this knowledge. The entire idea behind the Lorebinders is they go out into the world and collect this knowledge to bring back and have available, or to safeguard if it is not necessarily suitable for the public.
Like the foxes in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Every day.
Okay.
Sure.
Mine is that.
What do you guys want to do?
I mean, it seems like better to stay in a well-established area. I don't feel any threat of this place. We should try to. It's not too far. Can we press on? Are you guys okay? Half an hour? Abouts?
I mean, how much are we
Stretch.
really pushing it?
Not terribly far. I mean, you could. It won't in any way make you exhausted to push onwards.
Yeah, I'm willing to go until exhaustion,
Okay.
essentially.
Let's make it there then.
Let's do it.
Again, same type of thing.
Yeah.
We're not dropping our guard.
No worries. You guys progress on. Even about 20 minutes in, you come to an area where the snow has been partially cleared, and you can see elements of gravel, perhaps, some kind of crushed stone that has been laid out. Snow has fallen a little bit since it's been cleared. The clearing of this path, very uniform. However, it leads and kind of shifts in the direction of that glow, and as you draw closer, you can begin to make out elements of this actual structure. Lorebinder Academy is, at its core, it's 5 buildings, but the largest dominates the campus. Huge, goes back out like this, sort of like a staple shape.
Mm-hmm.
It is 3-tiered. There is this bottom tier that then rises up. The second tier is set back and only expands the entirety of the back wall. And then the very top, almost like this tower, you can see above it suspended this massive floating dull yellow orb. Just almost ominously kind of drifting there. There's like an Eye of Sauron vibe to it, kind of.
I think it's glowing, you said, too, yeah?
But as you do, and as you do draw closer, Morwen, something catches your eye.
Ooh.
In front of this main building, and before you get to the back where there's like a larger kind of tower that you would know is sort of like a it's huge, but it's this massive sort of dormitory building for visiting scholars and people who are seeking knowledge. There are these trees very different than the pines that you've seen. While snow covers a lot of them, at first they look almost frosted over, but you realize the leaves are probably made out of glass or crystal. On the right side of the actual Lorebinder Academy building, you can see a couple of like shorter structures, 2 of them. One of them, you can see as you draw closer, does have some pack animal shifting out in front of it, maybe like a stable. The other one, kind of hard to tell. It's a squat square structure, very small, no bigger than like a gas station, very small. You can see that there are figures moving here and there, even getting close to midnight. This is a place where there is some activity. And as you draw closer, there are not people coming to and from, passing you by. You see the first person who would come by, shorter even for a dwarf, almost like gnomish size, but just really stout. This very middle-aged, but like he's lived a hard life, like some real like sun-damaged skin, but a dwarf who kind of walks by. He's holding this sort of big bundle coming through, and he kind of gives you all a smile as he walks by. kind of trundling out, seemingly into just the darkness along this path.
Yeah. Just kind of like nod and smile curiously, like, yes.
How close are these crystal trees?
From where you are now, only about 200 feet away.
I touch a leaf.
Okay, so as you guys approach and you actually enter, there isn't walls per se, but there are these kind of wrought iron fence that goes all the way around, only about 5 feet tall, and there's no like spikes or anything. You would imagine more to keep like just like animals from wandering in. It also very clearly denotes the boundaries of the academy itself, or the academy itself. But you step through, and as you do, there is this sort of weird, almost tingling sensation. You walk through without issue. You walk through without issue. You walk through. It's almost unpleasant. Less for you like tingling, and more like when somebody's about to touch your back, but they haven't yet. It's this kind of constant, almost like pinch. Gunter, it as you pass through, it kind of hurts. There's this weird sensation where you walk in, and the air, it almost becomes viscous around you, and it seems to almost resist you. But after the first couple seconds, it passes. Stepping in, you get up to the tree, and you just touch one of the leaves. As you poke it, there is this, almost like when you move your hand around the edge of a crystal water glass, this kind of that just kind of echoes out into the air. Slightly lower note this time. I'm just going to grab a glass leaf. Squeeze it. Oink! No, it's again very much just kind of this. It's just this very soft kind of, and just seems to kind of echo. And you're noticing now as you touch them, inside there is just a very faint kind of light. So faint that it's really hard to notice, and you're not even really sure if you're catching elements of the drift globe, kind of catching the leaves. But it's a beautiful tree. And as you're playing with it, you are aware, or you're not aware, but the rest of you notice that there is a woman who comes up. She has elven features, very, very pointy chin, kind of lower cheekbones than you're used to seeing in elves, and the eyes themselves a little bit sallow. And for an elf, a little chubby. But she does come up, and you hear from behind you, "It's a lovely tree, isn't it?"
It's beautiful. Can I have a leaf?
No. They don't come off. Real firm. I mean, it moves and you hear like the but it doesn't actually come away from the tree. Make a strength check. Make an athletics check. And you can see she's kind of like, "Oh, please don't."
I was going to help you grab it.
19.
19. You raw 19 or with your modifier?
I don't have one.
Okay. You pull, and as you're pulling, it goes from like this to kind of this, but it doesn't break. And it is kind of like vibrating almost in your hands. She kind of tries to pull your hands away.
Morwen, what are you doing?
Please don't. It tastes like...
Excuse me, miss, what are these? And please, don't hurt yourself.
As you lick it, it seems like it's glass. It doesn't have a taste to it. It doesn't have a coldness to it. Despite the fact that you can see there is elements of snow kind of nestled on parts of it, it's not especially cold. I don't know if there's information you're hoping to discern from that.
I climb up it.
Okay. She's sort of like moves your hands, and even as she does, you're like climbing up it and you scale up. It is not a terribly tall tree.
And while I'm going up, it's like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, it is just it's
humming.
you know what the Museum of Science, that staircase made out of?
Yep, that's what I was picturing.
It's like you're walking
Actually,
up
exactly.
every single leaf that you touch. That's like a small.
Is the tree glowing as she does
individual
this?
notes.
Like with enough of them moving and maybe
with
glowing.
enough of them moving, it looks almost like just this wave of fireflies in the distance, kind of just drifting across. It is a very pretty tree, and she says, "Oh, okay."
While I'm climbing, I take note of the tunes.
Okay.
And when I come back down, I want to hit them in a way that it sounds like Sandstorm. On my shimmy
Make a
down.
performance check at disadvantage
Because that's dumb.
because you don't know what Sandstorm is, or Morrowind
He's
is
trying
not
to make a
Sandstorm.
song that's
Just make
reminiscent of
a flat,
three notes.
make a flat performance check.
3 notes.
I just don't want it to happen.
Oh.
Oh, but it
Is
does.
it
But
a
it's-
natural 20?
No.
Okay.
But it's a math. It's a 25.
Okay. As she's saying, "Oh, please don't," and you kind of look down, you slide down, and all of you hear this, dun, 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 like very faint, not terribly
It's not rhythmic.
recognizable. It's not rhythmic, and it's followed by this cacophony of just other notes as well. But for anybody from 2019, contemporary wisdom, they would hear
Sounds
just
like
this. They'd be like, "Is that Sandstorm?"
Disjointed.
Do it for the
sandstorm.
chat.
But because it is not in 2019
Yeah.
everyday society,
It sounds like a
it
weird
just sounds like a
cacophony of
weird
notes.
cacophony.
Well, you
of
know
notes.
what? Maybe that's where it started.
That
No one
sounds like
knows.
some sort of snowstorm. with
Notes.
I love that you get the point and I don't
All right.
for doing that.
He's catching up to you, actually.
I like kind of walk up to her. Sorry. Please pardon our inquisitive friend.
It is a tabaxi's nature, I think.
Yes, traveling long enough, even if I didn't know that beforehand, I've experienced it now.
They tend to get into trouble here.
Yeah.
These trees are important, so if you wouldn't mind, they're very hard to get.
She's not listening.
Yeah. He says 2 more.
And then Mormon says, cool, that's great. I'll stand in for a second.
Fantastic.
All right. And then.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was wishing good luck to see the nerd. Say that? No. Whatever.
Sethri the nerd?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome.
What?
Like Gabby just sneaking through.
What was that?
Oh,
God.
Jesus. Stealth.
It's
I was
Azra
gonna say
right
stealth.
behind you.
Snuck stealth.
Yeah, it's close enough.
I've had stuff.
Sorry, we just arrived. Never been. Lovely place. My friends are quite tired. We just traversed the entirety of the plains from
Pretty hungry too.
Culver's Bay. In a
Hungry
relatively
for
hasty.
knowledge.
Is there any place that we could get rest? Oh my god! Wow.
That's 23.
So you're noticing
Guts
that
just
she is
cuts
every
me
now
off.
and then kind of looking over at Shay.
Yeah.
But as you guys cut in and begin to talk, she kind of doesn't really know where to look, and she sort of
Right,
focuses
because
on
that's
you.
just how we do.
And she says, well, this is a good place to come in pursuit of knowledge.
Yeah.
We're the Lorebinder Academy. What school do you represent, or what? Anybody can answer, I suppose.
He did this to himself. I'll let him answer.
What did he do?
School of Cod.
School, of course.
Make a deception
School of
check.
course.
Can I just like? Oh my
Natural
god!
Okay.
Oh my lord.
I've actually never heard of a school of Cord, but I appreciate that.
It's a 25.
Okay. I appreciate
Well,
that
that's lucky.
his somewhat rambunctious followers are taking an interest in strength of mind
I
over
just
strength
stopped
of
myself
body.
from like helping a deception because I can't do that anymore.
Not that this body's not strong, am I right?
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
So if you would like some lodging, we can provide that. It is
Yes, that was really the important part of this guess or assailing of questions all at the same time.
good. We do have a very large dormitory building, and it is quite cheap. We do not provide food. You would need to do that for yourself.
I'm not food.
Not yet.
And you are also from the School of Cord?
No.
And who do you represent them?
Well, most recently, and I kind of just like look down at my book.
That is a very nice book.
Yes, it was given to me recently by a being from a higher plane, let's just say. It was a gift, and I am trying to learn more
Being
about
from a higher plane.
as far as I could tell.
You're very casual about
I know.
that.
Yes. I mean, here seems like a place that knows a lot of stuff, and I need to learn more about that. So I want to be quite forward
frankly,
that.
I want to learn a little bit more about all of you. You're a very strange group.
Yes,
But what is your name, Scholar of Court?
It sounds like a door opening.
That's the cultural name.
You'll have to forgive Peeboo here.
My name is
He's a little
Scott.
tired. Peeboo Scott. It's Peeboo Scott.
Scott. What?
Well, Scott. if you would like to make it to
SKAWTT.
The dormitory is that large building just over there.
Oh, yes.
For the rest of you, I would like to ask some questions. Please follow me. And she.
You don't want to
Takes the
ask
first-
Scott
Would we
any
not-
questions?
Well, Scott, you're welcome to come.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm with them. So.
To
Well,
be
I'm
quite
confused.
honest, to be
Now-
quite honest, we just traveled across the entirety of the
Let
Null
us,
Plains.
though,
Quite
perhaps
wary.
get out of the cold.
Correct, and I would say that we are quite tired. If you wouldn't mind,
You
maybe
are all clearly
following
from the
us.
kingdom. There is no need for deception here.
We're not trying. I'm not trying to deceive you at all. I'm trying to actually, at least, yes, get in out of the cold.
Well, okay. All are welcome here. I just need to discern where you are coming from to make sure that we are keeping track of anything that leaves the premises.
Well, then, I should have said that up front. By all means, of course.
So there is no school of court.
Talk to him.
Well,
I cannot
mean,
speak on behalf of
school
any of
in
my.
the general sense. You know.
So
What, like life as a teacher kind
you
of thing?
are all here.
He gets it.
You are all here privately.
Oh, if that was an if that was an option, then yeah.
So, with this discerned, very difficultly, I might add,
We've had a hard time in the world lately.
It's been very cold. We've traveled far. I'm not of my sorts.
it is the 14th of deep winter, and so the cold is expected. However, you are not from here. I actually recognize you a little bit. I haven't seen a dwarf like you in some time. We don't get many not from Kulturan or Stoneflow.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're a very odd fellow, Scott. But for the rest of you, and for you as well, come in and let's discuss. Lodgings for private parties are a little bit more expensive. We do need to fund the library after all. Please, follow me. And she begins to walk and kind of make sure that you guys are following her.
I am.
You
I
progress
don't know if
down.
everyone else is.
Following.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay. Just wanted
It's
to make
cold
sure.
outside.
But I'm totally perusing the place.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
When you get back to your seat, make a perception check. As you guys enter, you walk down this main path. There are benches, mostly covered in snow. None have been really used. Nobody's sitting outside in the snow. That line the path. They seem wrought iron with wooden flat seats that edge out into this kind of curved back. You can see as you pass now here and there on the ground, set into the actual ground itself, there seems to be magic light. So underneath the snow, there are just these kind of dim sort of glows, like you've seen in lawns, like those lights that they put out. It's kind of like that underneath the snow. You walk up to the main gates, and as you get closer, you're realizing this main building is massive. As you draw close, the door itself, probably about 18 feet tall, another 20 feet wide. The doors themselves are about this thick as you pass through and kind of see they're barred with iron, and so like very sturdy. And actually, as you pass through, kind of just taking a note, what was your perception check?
15.
15. You can see that there is this huge wrought iron kind of bar that could be put across. This is a place that is designed to be defended if it needs to be.
Can I? Oh,
Good.
not that I would ever do such a thing, but I am also looking for shiny, expensive objects.
I know.
Okay, just checking.
That's just a.
I would
given.
never. It's just
You want to make sure that Gunter
They're
doesn't steal
attention
anything.
grabbing.
Sure. You guys get through this main door, and as you do, there are people passing, and you're noticing, much like this woman, there are a couple who are wearing these very, very, almost like Bernal's blue robe, minus all the weird stars and some of the weird festoonings. You can see there is no like sigil on any of them, but you gather these are the people who either work at or live or in some way are involved with the Lorebinders. Shay has never met a Lorebinder proper, and so unclear if any of them are. You guys don't know a ton about the academy, so it's kind of unclear
Sure.
what the ranking
We just
system
know what they
is or
look like.
who's who. But she leads you in. The first chamber that you arrive to is sort of this large circular antechamber. You can see it opens up into a hallway that goes to the left. And In this antechamber, there is a big, sort of like a capital D-shaped desk with a rounded part facing you, and behind there are three different individuals dressed in these blue robes. There is one of them talking to like an older woman. They seem to be discussing something about like a book that this woman is carrying. You would imagine this is almost like a library desk. Beyond that, there are just rows, maybe 6 or 7 rows of these long wooden tables. And some of them, there are people sat writing or drawing or reading. You can see beyond that, it opens up into a huge place. This, where you had mistaken that back wall as like a 3-story structure, it just goes straight up, and there are just books that line the wall. They go up into darkness, and you can see these large ladders almost seem to be shifting around the room on their own accord, kind of aimlessly drifting. And every now and then you'll see a gentleman just kind of climb up one, and as he does, it stops. And you'll see he kind of just look around, and as he looks to the left, it just begins to glide in that direction. This whole place is lit by these small, almost candle-like objects that are just floating freely at different heights throughout. And so it gives it this beautiful, almost like chapel-like appearance. It is fairly quiet, but there is this hushing murmur. Actually, let me pull that up for you.
Yeah, we're out of the cold.
Yeah, we'll get you guys out of the cold. All my presets got reset, so give me 1 second.
Oh no!
It happens, you know. So there we go. Perfect. So as you walk in, even at midnight, this place is fairly busy. There's a couple dozen people that you can see either at tables, walking to and from. In the back, you can see that there's a number of people just sort of perusing the books. In the center of that huge chamber that rises up, 3 stories within its central area, you can see that there is almost like a stone building in the center of this. A door, some kind of black metal, very, very secure looking, torch burning on either side. Aside from that, this entirety is just like a huge library. She walks past, and you can see the 2 women, and this what as you get closer, you can see is like a gnome up on like a pretty large step stool, so that he can be over the desk as well. All kind of watch you pass, but being with this woman, you go through without issue.
I'm totally sketching all this as we're walking around.
She sits down at a table and gestures for you all to take a seat as well.
Which I do.
I'm gonna plop on down.
Okay. It's very kind of a wet plop. But you all sit. Morwen, you sitting as well? Mm-hmm. You guys just are suddenly sort of overtaken with this place. After having traveled through the snow for the last 3 days, it's warm. It is surrounded by people. And it's people. And it's relatively safe. So, Scott, what is your name?
Lorraine.
Lorraine, what is your name? Make a deception check.
I'm like,
Shay.
Shay.
good one.
12.
Lorraine, you are all here presumably to find some kind of knowledge. It's what we do. This is the largest collection of books on this continent. Anything that you wish to learn, you can generally learn here. It is your first time, I believe, correct?
Yes.
So we have 3 libraries within the Lorebinder Academy. You are all welcome to access the Library of Roots, this beautiful building that you see around you. But within that stone structure over there, that leads to the Library of Trunks, and that it's currently off limits to those who have not donated to the library proper.
How much you gotta donate?
It's not a matter of financial donations. We obtain those from the people who come to visit and pay for our services. It is more of a donation of knowledge. If you have some forgotten lore, a story, a song, a poem, something that we do not have, that is a good start.
Probably got something in my back pocket.
It's a terrifying thing. You seem to be wearing like a kind of a sarong.
Keeps me warm when I need it.
I just don't know if I want anything that's stored in it.
Well, it was a metaphor. You're a learned scholar. You should get it.
I do know what a metaphor is, yes.
All right. Not my actual pocket then. Jeez.
So, I'm unclear as to what knowledge you would like to find. It may be that you do not require additional access if you wish something fairly simple. But what can I help you find?
I am looking for references to the primordials, specifically Octus.
Oh, the primordial gods.
Yes.
I could point you in the direction where you might find something of that nature.
Would be helpful.
Absolutely. And she takes out a little piece of parchment and actually writes down. They don't use the Dewey Decimal System, but when you look at some of these elements of books, you can see that there are symbols, and they are very, very simple. Being from the Zinyi, it is not a language necessarily, but the Zinyi do a lot of patterning and a lot of cryptography. This seems to be a very simple kind of like dot and dash system to identify quickly where certain books are. So you take your symbol and you head off to try to find that matching. Okay. You head off into the stacks. She turns to you. And Lorraine, what are you looking for?
Pass.
Okay. Just along for the ride?
A little bit.
Quite. Well, it has been some time since we've seen a tabaxi within these halls, so it is quite nice to see you. Where do you hail from? We sort of have lost track of you guys.
I've lost track too.
Well, I'm not going to pry. But a
In due
pass
time,
from
in
you.
due time.
Is there knowledge that you require?
Yes, actually. Anything about, I suppose, Helm would be a good start.
Helm the god or Helm the item?
The god.
Well, you should probably follow your friend. She's heading in the direction of where we keep our religious texts.
Okay, and I'll sort of thank you, I suppose.
Chair scrapes back and...
And she already pointed out the where like the place to like lodge is and everything, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like we're getting probably pretty tired at this point.
Well,
or everyone else is.
midnight 30.
Yeah. I'd be like, all right, cool. Before we're diving too far, at least getting the lay of the land. Yeah, I'll just kind of do that while I'm also just glancing around and just getting lay of the land.
Make a perception check.
I can't help but like be in awe of all of these books and tomes and shit. Yeah, it's cool. It's an 11.
A lot of books.
Yeah, I'm overwhelmed.
You are. I will say, looking around, it's not overpopulated to the point where it's hard to pick out individuals, and so you can see there are people who do appear to be dressed in Sarantilian clothing, so similar to your own. Fairly. Nobody who's terribly rich. I would say you could also see. That's probably about it, honestly. 11.
That's fine.
But you head off to follow Shay?
Yeah, just to that area, and then
Okay.
I'll do my own.
Follow that. She looks at you and then kind of says, "Now, are you sure you don't need anything, Lorraine?"
At the moment, I'm fine, thank you.
Very well. Scott, you said your smile worries me so very much.
I'm just, happy to be inside. It's really cold out.
Yes. You said before you were from the School of Court, which was a lie. I'm curious, why did you feel the need to lie to us?
Well, I didn't know what the question was. I'm getting up there just trying to get knowledge. There's so much in there that sometimes it spills out.
Well, okay. What knowledge do you seek to continue to push the knowledge you have out?
Nothing in particular seems to strike me. More just, I was wondering, you're probably pretty high up in this establishment.
Oh,
right?
well, I am doing pretty well for my
Probably
age.
You
Yeah.
seem like you're doing pretty well for yourself. You have that bearing. So I was wondering, between you and me, what kind of juicy knowledge do you have all the way up in the
Make a persuasion check.
Juicy knowledge.
Make it an advantage,
What's the
actually.
hot goss up there?
You struck a chord with her that she definitely rings true for her.
That's still only a 15.
Scott, I can't just tell you all of the juicy secrets of the Lore Binders Academy, but if you do have some knowledge, perhaps not in your back pocket, but somewhere else, we could see about maybe granting you some temporary access.
Oh, okay. So what kind of knowledge are we talking about?
So you remember before how I said I wasn't going to tell you all the secrets of our place? It
Yeah.
was just a minute ago.
Yeah. Well, it was less than that.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a metaphor, I believe.
Ah. Say no more. Say no more.
Very well. If you should require anything, please come find me. I will be in the stacks, kind of in the direction that your friends went. Flag me down.
Okay.
She stands up, gives you a last kind of lingering. It's not the normal like fucking Gunter. It is this very she
Not the
can't
normal
piece.
fucking gunter.
She can't piece you together at all. She has no. You've changed your stance so many times in the brief interaction that you had with her. She has no idea what to think.
Good.
But she takes off.
Plan.
Shay,
Yes.
you take your symbol, and without too much trouble, actually, because there's a large section related to various religions, you find this sort of shelf. And now, what are you looking for with the primordials, specifically Octus?
Specifically Octus.
Make a investigation check at advantage.
Yay.
Usuya, welcome to the stream. 17. Okay. It takes you a little bit, and you do come across a few things that are interesting. We're going into lore territory.
A few interesting things.
A number of things.
Shit.
Ah.
Yeah.
You find a book. Okay, I'll find that video at the end. You find a couple things. So the first thing that you find is a book on it's called The First Age. There is no author, and it's an old book. It's like this reddish sort of leather that is cracking in places because it clearly has been kept in a dry place and then brought somewhere a little bit more damp. It's traveled.
Yeah.
But leafing through it, you do find references to some of the primal gods. There is Octus, who you know of as this sort of primal god of flight and of the sort of freedom of movement and these other things. You see a reference to the god Aurelian, the god of light. The god of life,
Yep.
who first breathed life into the world. What are you looking for in particular to Octus?
I don't know that she's looking for anything in particular.
Okay, you find out about Octus that there is originally the god of flight was deceived, and there are a couple of notes within the margins of this book that seem to raise questions as to the authenticity of this fact. But it is believed that one of the Orcish gods put a trick upon her, very much like a Tower of Babel situation, causing these very prideful creations of hers to be split into things that were not whole. The Aarakocra, I can never say the word right. Aarakocra.
Aarakocra.
Aarakocra?
Yeah, Aarakocra.
Aarakocra. Being creatures that can never quite match the flight and the abilities that Octus had originally set out for them. Species such as the Kenku falling even further away from that glorious sort of ability to just be free within the world of Alberon. She would also remember or know, being around members of these species, there is always this constant wistfulness to be in the sky. And parts of that sort of make sense now a little bit more to you. You're seeing now references of Octus inadvertently causing this rift between these different species, which eventually began creating a war that separated the North so violently. There was originally actually 5 dwarvish citadels. There are now currently 2 in the North. However, you don't learn much more in that book beyond that. As you place it back on the shelf, a title catches your eye. It's Theoretical Planes, Demiplanes, and Small Worlds. There is an author on this. Abernathy the Bender. And as you pick it up, there's some information in there. You follow and you see Shay kind of like pulling out this book, and it has a title on it in Elvish. However, you see these beautiful curved figures kind of shift, and you're able to read them. You can see that she's reading something on the primal gods.
Wait, because it's Elvish, can I understand any of it?
You're not there.
That's true.
But you would be able to.
Wait, where are you guys?
They're off in the stacks. You and Gunter are
Okay.
sitting at the table. What are you doing? What are you looking for?
I mean, it's a wide approach, but I guess just anything relating to Helm in the first place.
Make an investigation check.
Ooh, wait. I want next. I'm gonna look for
Okay.
a book.
20
20.
plus 25.
25. You find a lot of stuff.
Yay!
Now,
you still never sent me that email with the other stuff.
It did.
With all
It
the
doesn't-
lore?
There's no title on it, I realized, but I did send the email.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot of lore. But that's mostly on the upper planes and celestial
Oh.
creatures.
Is it an attachment?
No, it's not an attachment.
Oh.
It's just a long email.
Oh, okay.
So
Better
there's
than filtered.
quite a few things that you come across. Helm is one of the pantheon of Law and Light, one of the most well-documented series of gods in Dominion.
Got filtered.
Yeah.
Because you use your
Sorry.
work, quote unquote.
I know.
Well, I guess work email now, right?
Also, Asumiwa, thank you for subscribing. The subscribing helps out so much, so thank you so very
Oh,
much.
shit. Oh, hey,
Thank
what's
you.
up?
So, you find out a ton of information. There are books upon books just on Helm. You find out that you've known that he's the god of vigilance. You know that the eye, originally, the reason that they have that black eye and all this iconography,
Yeah.
it symbolizes that even when Helm is not there or is in some way obscured or blinded, the vigilance never ends.
Right.
He's often depicted with an eye patch or a missing eye. You also find out directly opposed. Man, we're going real deep into lore here. This is the best.
Yay!
Directly opposing. I have to bring out like all 6 of my notebooks. Directly opposing Helm on the pantheon of Shadow and Strife, because he is part of the pantheon of Law and Light. There we go. Would be sort of opposite of him is Cyric, the god of lies. They are not you, Siri. Stop.
God of.
Sorry,
That's-
I didn't quite catch.
I'm sorry, because that's actually hilarious if we're talking about
Wait,
vigilance.
please have Siri be named God of Lies.
Don't say
after
that name out.
That is actually she who must not be named.
Cyric.
That's so good.
Yes. Cyric. I made the sound really
Appreciate
extra
that.
emphasized, so.
So that's great. I'm really happy about that. So you directly opposite. They are in this sort of eternal feud, and oftentimes followers of one or the other will be at odds.
Sure.
So you actually find out that this group that you'd heard a little bit about, the Helmsguard,
Yeah.
down at Thousand Gates, created originally to counter a Cyric insurrection, number of cultists back in 1207 Third Age.
And again,
so
the
about
current year we're in is.
1470.
Okay, so,
a while
well,
ago.
yeah, 200 plus. Gunter was alive, though.
Yeah, actually.
Damn.
Gunter, you would actually.
Why are we reading books? We should have
This
asked Gunter.
would have
What's up?
Open
happened
up
in
his
your neck of the woods back then. You would know a lot about.
But he doesn't know I'm reading this book, so tell
No,
him
but
later.
you would know a lot about the Helmsguard. I can explain it to you in your lore for the email. However, you also find out the things that Helm really values. Beyond just vigilance, there is this idea of vigilance and protection. There is this need to stand up for those who cannot stand up for themselves. More than all of it, there is this need to observe before acting.
Mm-hmm.
Helm is not an impulsive god.
I feel like thus
He
far,
acts-
inadvertently, I've been acting that way since the change, which is kind of cool. Keep going.
There's a reason why your powers decay very quickly. You roleplayed it really well, actually. But you find out that he is a god that would prefer that a few get hurt so that a proper action is made to help the many.
Right.
He is a very pragmatic god.
Mm-hmm.
Being a member of the Pantheon of Law and Light, when the Divine Accord was struck, he left Alberon, residing permanently within the upper planes, which you, within your book, have a little bit of information on.
Mm-hmm.
As you're looking through these books, though, you're thinking back, and there's another book that strikes your attention. The book is called Blades of Woe, Dark Words That Cut. And there's a particular passage that stands out to you. And as you pull that book away, there's another one that strikes you, because as you pull it away, it opens up a little bit, and you just see a very familiar name, but it is called Folk Figures of Dominion.
Uh-huh. Okay. Scan real quick.
Outside of that, there is there's so much information on Helm that I will include it in your lore because it is just
don't
lot.
drown everyone right now. Yeah.
So you find that kind of stuff and you become involved in this task.
Yes.
Morwen, you said you wanted to do something.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, so Croddick? So he's a hawk, right? Like is he
has
a
the
creature? Like what
Aarakocra.
is he?
He's an Aarakocra.
Okay, I want to
He
find a
has
book
the
on that.
body of a man. He has wings.
Sure
He's the
does.
head of he sure does.
Sure does.
The head of a red hawk does Croddick have. But
Okay.
you're looking for a book on the Aarakocra.
Yeah.
Okay, make an investigation check at disadvantage.
You know what I'm trying to look for.
Make an investigation check.
All right, so that's going to be an investigation check, right?
Yep.
So 8.
Okay. So while the two scholars do their research and really, begin to uncover these books on things that they're really looking for, notice also the two actually asked the person and got directions, found exactly what they were looking for, and more. The two of you haphazardly wander around. You find no books.
I'll ask for help.
Okay, so we'll get back to you. You don't find anything, and so you kind of sheepishly make your way back towards looking for this
What was her
woman.
name?
You never got her name.
Okay, sick.
You begin kind of looking around. You think to yourself, maybe Shay was asking about primal gods. Maybe we'll start there. So you kind of start wandering around, and you look through. You have some trouble locating one of those moving ladders, and you're not very tall. So you're kind of stuck looking at the one shelf of books. You're getting the sense that what you're looking for, probably not knowledge publicly available. You find nothing relating to what you were looking for.
I'm gonna go back and try to get myself into getting up to those upper levels
Okay.
of knowledge.
You want to do something?
Do I see Heinrich still, or has he moved off?
As you're sort of like closing your book, looking up, you would see Heinrich is pulling up. He has 3 books in his hands.
I'm gonna take this book over. I think you might find this interesting.
And which book is she? Which book are you handing me? Motherfucker.
I leaned back like I was in the way.
I know, right? So,
Big book.
Mormon, you approach and you do see that she is there, kind of helping this little gnomish fellow who is carrying far too many books for his body size. He seems to be struggling, but seems very happy. He waddles away, almost kind of walking into you and then kind of skirting around. And she looks up. Hi.
Hello, I would actually like some help.
Sure, what can I do for you, Lorraine?
Can you help me find a book on Aarakocra?
Heinrich's not there.
No, I forgot the word.
I know.
Morwen would never.
Mormon never learned what they were called. Hot bird
Hawk
guy.
people?
Hawk people.
The body. body of a man and like face like a hawk.
Oh dear.
You know?
Yes, Eric Okra.
Yes, please. Can I?
Are you looking for their history or something more about sort of the physiology of them, or what are you looking for?
Oh.
Oh,
I'll start with physiology.
of course. A moment, and she takes out a piece of parchment and she writes the little symbol. It's like 3 sideways slashes and 2 dots, and then this little, almost like an upside down
Is
triangle.
there like a teen magazine version of this, or no? Just kidding. Keep going.
You take this and you begin wandering through the stacks, and you do eventually find the matching symbol. There are a lot of books here, but you can make out a couple words here and there. There's a few books in Elvish. Nothing relating to an Eric Coker. Make an investigation check. At disadvantage, because you can't read. It's a rough place for you to be investigating. 10. You don't find any kind of book that looks... You actually do find a book that has the sort of like winged humanoid on it. But as you pull it away, you notice like this actually very familiar looking scout. It's a book about harpies. Not quite what you're looking for. And you slide it back in. Who are you? How are you going about this task? What are you trying to do?
I think I'm gonna try to like go on back to the front and be like, what kind of knowledge you want?
So to somebody else you're talking to?
To the woman at the front desk.
Okay, so as you approach one of the women at the front desk, it's 2.
The one that we were talking to before.
Okay, so you wander back to the
Who have
stacks.
already gained
Sure.
some. She's
You pass
on the
Morrowind,
good side.
who is now walking by with a little piece of parchment. And this woman looks up at you. Scott, did you need help with something?
Yeah. So, about before, what if I want to get up there? How is there a process by which I submit knowledge, or do I just
Well, yes,
go up
do you
there?
have something to submit?
Well, is there just anything?
Again, we're looking for bits of knowledge or lore that we don't have. We're called the lore binders for a reason. We
Well,
bind
how
the
am I
lore
supposed to know what you don't have? I can't read all of it. There's like 2/3 of it that I'm not even allowed to look at.
I'm going to be very frank with you, Scott. You seem old enough to know better. If you think you have something valuable, please let us know. So Gunter begins just emptying out his pockets, just right here. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking for valuable things that they would probably want in my own possession.
You kind of like hand the book to Heinrich, and as you're looking around, you see Gunter just pulling things out of his bag, out of his pockets.
Of Mermaids and Man erotic novella.
Seems right.
She looks at it, and just you can see this kind of flush come onto her little, slightly rounded chipmunk-like cheeks. You can see now with the blushing these little like freckles on there. Make a persuasion check. Make it an advantage. It's like you know this character very well. It's actually...
Natural 20!
She snatches it out of your hand and just kind of tucks it into her robe and just goes, this is for a private collection. What knowledge are you looking for, Scott?
Well, between you and me, I was looking on how one might go about killing a god. Becoming a god.
Oh, you're serious.
Yes, it's for research purposes. Anything about, deaths of gods in the past, or how that might have happened, historical documents,
Okay.
You get interested in these things as you get to be 287,
Of
and
course. Wow,
death
287.
becomes more of a reality.
Well,
And I stare like,
first, Scott, you look great for your age.
Oh,
I understand what you're looking for. If you're merely looking for historical documents of the death of gods, your friends are in the section that would be in.
okay, and besides that, more so?
I don't quite understand what you're looking for.
If you go up to the higher levels, what kind of things would you find on these similar topics?
She sort of looks around. Look, Scott, if you want, I can get you some knowledge from those levels. But I don't know what you're looking for. Because these are all things that you could find down here.
Okay. Well,
I'm like
if you
locked
were-
eye contact.
between you and me,
And I'm gonna.
I'm just no. Where to begin with that one?
If you were to try and surpass them and take their power, how am I going to go about that?
You're gonna get yourself fucking thrown in jail, dude.
It would be different. You would need to probably learn time
Like
travel.
trying, like, I
Do you
don't
know
want
of
to
the
turn
Divine Accord? No. Okay.
that face.
You said you were 287 and you don't know of the Divine Accord. Okay.
Things come in, things come out.
So,
May I pass this?
yes. The Divine
I'm not
Accord
trying to
is
interrupt you,
when the Pantheon of Law and Light and the Pantheon of Shadow and Strife struck an agreement to leave the world of Alberon and to let it decide its own fate, if you will.
Okay.
To surpass one of those gods, you would need to go back in time because they only exist within the upper planes. Currently.
Oh, okay. So then, how
Then
do
figure it
I?
out.
How do I do that then?
Snail.
How do you time travel? Is what you're looking for.
I guess so.
Give me a moment. And she disappears.
Alright. And it's like,
This might be easier than I thought.
Okay. So you're waiting for her. Meanwhile, the two of you doing something?
I'm like locked eyes, like
Yeah.
I'm glad to read this book now.
After reading the book that she handed me, I don't really know what to do with all of that information, so I'm just a little bit shocked and kind of... I feel like I would take notes and start transcribing a fair amount, mainly the passages that were on there.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, more to talk about for sure. Holy shit.
hit a nail on the head there.
It's all more news to me, though, and I don't feel too great about that at all. I feel quite threatened by all of that now. I'm going to just continue reading these other books here, and I kind of go back and look for more stuff, but it's really hard to focus now.
Yeah. So you take all of your books.
I'm just kind of like doing one of these, like, yeah, I'm reading, but I'm like reading, and then I'm just kind of like glancing away, and then, oh, right, I was reading.
Are you doing anything at the moment? You would notice that she is, at the moment, kind of like furtively walking away. Like she very noticeably is like seeing if people are following her. It
and
looks like
Gunter's just leaning
Yeah, Gunter's like-
casually on the desk. Like,
there's something going on there. I feel like you know Gunter well enough to know something's happening.
Then I'm just going to watch.
About 5 minutes pass. You would notice kind of this exchange with Shay and Heinrich happening. But then you are aware of this kind of and this follow-up, this heavy footsteps. And you hear, "Oh, Scott, I brought one of the lore binders. They can help." And as you turn towards this woman, you can see looming behind her, probably about 9 feet tall, this huge, gray-skinned, bald-headed individual. You can see a single comically small glass monocle like perched in one eye. Looks like it's almost been wedged into the skin itself. You would know, actually Gunter would definitely not know because we've established this already canonically in lore. This is a Goliath. But as he approaches, he's wearing these very fine, almost a little bit too tight in the chest and biceps, this robe, which like sweeping arms for most people, like tight around him. "I am Lorebinder Boron, and you come seeking forbidden knowledge."
Oh, I didn't know it was forbidden.
And that is where we're going to end for this evening. Because it is about 12:15. So, yeah, you guys got to the Lorebinder Academy. That's fantastic.
I feel
Big
like
thank
we
you to
could spend
everybody who tuned in. Thank you so much for the bits talent and for subscribing. Isumiwa, don't worry too much about falling back on the episodes. They're all on YouTube. You can check them out there.
good plug.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you for everybody who stood active in chat and also got those positive beard vibes from Talon there, Miles.
Yay, beer vibes.
So this is our last game of 2019. So So that's
Oh my
super cool. I
God.
know, right? We've been going for almost a full year on this campaign. We're
Damn.
getting pretty close. So next, what are you guys doing next Friday?
Playing
This.
D&D.
I'm doing this.
Episode
Same time next
Getting
week.
wrecked by a Goliath, it seems like.
Episode 22, Forbidden Knowledge, will be next week, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on Twitch. Please tune in. Check out the Instagram, the YouTube, all that stuff. All of our old sessions going back to BIS. I think back to probably for us it was session 18, I think. So right back to when we first began streaming. Those are on YouTube. So check those out if you want to catch up. Otherwise, we'll see you next week at 8:30. Take care of yourselves. Have a great night.
Bye.
And a great new year.
Oh yeah, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
See you next year.
No, don't.
Okay.
You had to go there.
Give her a tally.
I had to go
We'll give
there.
her a
Give her a tally.
Now we'll see.